today, 7 days a week.
Press down.
With
I never use the queue.
0% financing is available and
but
prevents
they
you
don't all
from
light up very
having
well.
to deal with these matters at the time of their grief and sorrow. The Gardens of Boca Raton
Some of them do,
to all those who have lived
some light
and
up
all
more
those
than
who
others.
live today.
Somebody,
Let the Gardens take care of your family as they're taking care of my family. Schedule a tour today. Call 877-PLAN-561 or online at thegardens.com. Tell them Steve Kane sent you.
Hi, this is George
Good morning, everyone. If you're new here, this is the most pro-Donald Trump radio show you'll find anywhere. My name's Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Show. I just got back from the beach. I went to the beach this morning on my way in. Let me see if I got any sand. Oh, yeah, I got some sand. Look, watch. I was just at the beach.
So, if you're a Medicare recipient, give the Soul Authority a call today at 954.
The beach is right down the street.
7060. That's 954-597-7060. Don't let social distancing stop you from taking care of your feet. Call the Soul Authority today.
This is Steve Kane for Attorney Barry Siegel. Barry did
I thought I'd go check out the beach on the way in. I was a little early.
Listen to one of our listeners, Ray.
I don't usually go to the beach that early in the morning. And I walked down to the water. I made a little video, took some pictures. I'll put them online later. I know, it's nice.
I know that you're dealing with an honest person. I had to go up to Myrtle Beach with my sister because her husband died.
Well, it's right from God's ocean, you know, so I went right up to the water at the pier.
Every 3 years at least you gotta.
It's been in the hot sun all day in the ocean salt water. I'm sure it's fine.
South Carolina, I know the laws are different, and I'm just asking for information for my sister. Now, you know, most people would just blow you off.
All right, here we go. This is the last commercial. Good morning, everyone. Was that a convention or what? Oh, man. You're supposed to wear a mask on the beach. It says so, but there was nobody there but me.
A lot of things, you know, and this and that. But I wanted to say, you know, character, integrity, these are the most important things with sponsors.
I know, it's nice that the beach is so close. I don't have time to go after. One day I'll go after.
That you can trust them, and you know you're getting.
It took me 4 minutes to get from the beach to here today. That's how close we are. 4 minutes. Of course, there's no traffic.
FLA 3782. That's 1-855 toll free FLA 3782. Tell them Steve sent you.
Yeah, it was pretty dark. I was there at. I got there. It was 5:15 when I got there, and I left at about 5:30.
Florida's longest running radio show, the Steve Kane Show. To call the show toll free, dial 1-888-COCAINE 1. That's 1-888-COCAINE 1. And now, here's Steve Kane.
Same ocean, right? You're on the Atlantic, Neil? All righty. 6 minutes after the hour. My name is Brian Craig. This is Florida's longest running radio show, the Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. It's Tuesday morning, August 25th, 2020. Was that a convention or what? Oh, man. I'm so hyped. I'm so pepped. That's what it's all about, right? Hyping us up, pepping us up. It's a pep rally, and I feel great. In fact, on the way, I was just telling everyone on YouTube Live, on my way into the radio station this morning, I was a little early, and I stopped in at Starbucks that's across the street from Ace Hardware Deerfield, and it was, I don't know, it was about 10 after 5. I was running a little early today, so I went to the beach. And I walked up to the ocean over there, Deerfield Beach, where the pier is, and just enjoyed the beach this morning for a few minutes before I came here to the radio station. And I timed it. It took me 4 minutes to get from the beach to the radio station. So that's how close we are to the ocean here. Welcome, everyone. And I'm going to keep it open phones convention related. Oh, man. Everything Trump does is tops. I mean, he had the #1 show on NBC television, The Apprentice and The Celebrity Apprentice. Does that count as 2 shows? Either way, it was #1, if you want to count it as 1 or 2. And he knows how to put on a production, and that's exactly what he did. And he also has a long... Think about this. He's been in office for less than 4 years. He has been in politics, if you think about it. He's been a public official for fewer than 4 years, and he has more accomplishments than Joe Biden has in his 1/2 century in office. Meeting with people that he gave cures to their cancer to, meeting with hostages that he had freed from captivity in terrible places. Oh man, was just great. Let me just give out the number, and then I'll take some calls screenless right here at the top if you're on hold before I get into anything. 1-888-GO-CANE-1. I imagine we're going to hear from a lot of trolls today, liberal trolls, because that is, if you were a Democrat, that was a depressing event last night. But if you're a proud American who wants to keep America great, you felt wonderful watching that. And that's just the first night. And they're building up to the greatness. They're starting off slow, and it'll just get better and better each and every night. Our number, toll-free from anywhere, 1-888-GO-CANE-1. That's Kane with a K, like in Kamala. We won't be able to say that long, right? A couple months, we'll be talking about her anymore. And the number 1-888-GO-CANE-1, 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. Good morning.
Good morning. I just wanted to comment about the McCloskeys. I saw the video.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Wow. That really resonates with me because I grew up in Houston where there was low-income housing that just apartments that flooded right by our school, and it literally ruined our public high school. And so I think the suburbs message should be preached a lot from the Trump campaign because they actually lowered the regulation threshold.
Well, here's the thing. Now, where do you live currently? What city are you in now?
Plantation.
You're in Plantation. Okay, well, that's a great example because I used to live in Plantation. And, Plantation's nice, but it's not as nice as it used to be. And my wife and I, when we got married, bought a great condo in a place called the French Quarter in Plantation, which isn't as nice as it was when we left 16 years ago. And the reason we left is too many rental communities were popping up in Plantation, and that brings the quality of the community down because renters don't care about taking care of the joint. And it brings the quality of the schools down. And we moved to a place where, they didn't have that going on. You want to move on up, like the Jeffersons. You don't move on down to low-income housing.
Exactly, and I agree with you about Plantation schools. I mean, we have a daughter, and I don't want her to go to a bad school. I want her to go to a good school. We don't think in terms of private school that seems too expensive for us. We want to move up, right? So it's just, it's really a burden.
Well, I promise you this. This Section 8 housing that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris want to bring to our neighborhoods, I promise none of them are going near their homes in their neighborhoods, especially where his mansion is in Delaware. You going to be any Section 8 housing on Biden Street, you think?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I just wish they would talk about this more. Because it really resonates with people, and you see places devastated across the country when they force these kind of situations on.
Did you see how you can tell how great the convention was by how discouraged Dana Bash and Jake Tapper and the fact checker on CNN are? I mean, they are. Oh, they. I haven't seen CNN so down in the dumps morale-wise since 9/11. I mean that.
The Cuban American speech was good. The guy who talks about socialism.
Oh, his dad fled communism in Spain. Then he had to flee it again in Cuba, and now they're turning it into communist here if they can.
Yeah, I know, and I don't know. It's all going to come down to the swing states, and it's how does Kamala Harris play out there, and the unemployment levels there? The swing.
I don't think there really are swing states anymore. Not this election. The Democrats unleashed all this violence. Good job in Wisconsin, Democrats, nationwide, and it's really people that are undecided but likely voters. They're done with this. Come on. It's obvious the Democrats are behind all of this.
Right.
They won't condemn it. That's why Kamala doesn't do interviews, because they're afraid she'll be asked about the violence, and she doesn't want to condemn it.
Right. It's amazing how leftists want to destroy history and everything. And
well, it was a great convention, wasn't it? Now, where did you watch the convention? Because Fox News, I couldn't believe, cut away. They cut away Fox News.
Well, I watched different video. I watched when the roll call was being done, okay, and then I earlier in the day, and then I watched the videos of McCloskey's. I haven't watched it like you, so I'm going to be catching up on.
Oh yeah, well I'll tell you what I did is when they I wanted to watch it on Fox. I want to support Fox, the primetime lineup, and they cut away and it was Tucker. I couldn't believe it. I was appalled. I went over to YouTube and I watched it live on YouTube, and I actually was it's on many YouTube channels. I was watching it on the Fox News YouTube channel, and when I joined the channel, I turned it instantly as Tucker came on. There were 41,000 people watching. My wife came in from and I was in the bedroom. My wife was in the kitchen. From the time my wife came from the kitchen to the bedroom, there were 101,000 watching. Just in that little time, everybody left Fox News Channel and went over to their YouTube channel, I guess, or at least a lot of them, instantly.
C-SPAN was really good. My dad was telling me how he just didn't want to hear the commentators. He wanted to just watch it. So C-SPAN, he turned.
Well, they made a big mistake on Fox News. I hope that's corrected tonight. They got, Tucker and Hannity. Don't worry, you'll get credit for the ratings because it's during your show. So just shut the hell up and, play the damn convention.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I don't want to hear Hannity or Tucker talk about it. Not while it's going on. They can talk about it after.
Right, exactly. And I agree with Trump should be on every night. I mean, why not?
Well, when I first heard that, I thought that was strange, and then we saw what he did. He had the group of freed hostages. He had the first responders. I mean, it was beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. Well, all right.
All right, take care, Plantation. Appreciate it. All right, you're on the radio. Good morning.
Hey, it's Mike and Boca.
Mike and Boca. Those of you on hold, stand by. I've got a few calls on hold, and we'll do a lightning round of calls here before I take the first break, so don't go anywhere. What's up, Mike and Boca?
Excellent R&D last night. It was a perfect production.
And, well, the only flaw was Kim Guilfoyle.
I like what she said. She kind of reminded me, believe it or not, Michelle Obama, because she screamed a little bit too much on the...
A little bit. I like Kim Guilfoyle. Don't get me wrong. I had her on my podcast. I've got her cell phone number because I had her on my podcast a while back. Yeah, not that I'm going to call. I'm not going to call. I got lots of people's cell phone numbers I never call. But her audio level would have been fine. Her audio level would have been fine if she was talking to a regular convention. And that thing she did at the end when she smiled and put her arms out, she has not been on. She's been off television for a while, and I think she just got a lot of adrenaline going. That's okay.
She had they could have, hindsight.
Well, she tweeted a little later, I felt so bad for Kim Guilfoyle. I felt so bad. And then about 15 or 20 minutes after she left, she tweeted, sorry for yelling.
Yeah. Yeah. But, if you've seen Kim over the years, she's always very enthusiastic.
You know who her ex-husband is, right? You know who her ex-husband is?
Yeah, I was hoping that she.
Gavin Newsom, the governor of California. Yeah. I'm surprised when Don Jr. and his wife split. I'm surprised he went for Kim Guilfoyle. She's middle-aged. I thought he'd have some young hottie like the girl he was with, and they've been together a long time now. Oh, we lost Mike and Boca. You can call back, Mike and Boca. Good morning. You're on the radio.
Hello. Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine. What's your name and where are you calling from?
This is Rabbi David.
Rabbi David? Oh my goodness. A long time no hear.
Well, I as I'm watching the convention last night, all I did was say to myself, I got to call Brian tomorrow. So I tell you, first of all, I wouldn't give Fox such a little free pass on this one. I was outraged that we finally have the convention and they don't cover it. This is not just a little thing. This is, I mean, and I don't know if it goes beyond Tucker and Hannity's ego. What do they think we're doing? We're sitting here waiting for this convention, and they don't cover it. And I first watched CNN and MSNBC. I finally watched it on C-SPAN. But
well, this is Brad Parscale. Brad Parscale tweeted, or Pascal, is it Pascal? I don't know. You know what I'm talking about. The former campaign manager. He tweeted instantly. He says it's pretty sad that I have to turn to CNN to watch the Republican convention when Fox News cuts away. Like this. It was appalling.
We were worried that CNN or that they would keep Selfs or whatever would have to have a fact checker and this and that. I'll give them credit. CNN, they made their comments in between, but they showed it.
Yeah.
And they showed its entirety.
Well, what do you think that was? Obviously we don't know, so we're speculating at Fox News. Was this Hannity and Tucker's ego, or was this Paul Ryan board of directors management kind of decision?
I think it's up to, they leave it up to the guys who shows it. So I think Tucker says, I don't want to lose my opportunity. No, these guys love being on the air. They love hearing themselves talk, and they just think that people would rather hear them than these people.
Well, that's the end. That's the end of the ego. The thing about that's just insanely. Hannity's ego exploded when he left his wife and started having sex with pretty girls, like the one he's been rumored to be with, and his ego's gotten out of control, because he's been a geek his whole life, and now he gets hot girls, But that's how it goes. Guys that couldn't get girls when they were younger. But this thing with the convention last night when they cut away, I was really disgusted by it, and I was shocked. I was shocked when Tucker came in.
And by the way, just to mention about Kim Guilfoyle, I was never really a big fan of her, but I have to say, she decided to go on last night as if it was a room full of 30,000 people. Because we're social distancing,
oh please.
And she decided to just say, what if I make believe that I'm in a room with 30,000 people?
Nah, I don't know. Those things were recorded, I'm assuming, but that wasn't live, was it?
This stuff live. They came.
I thought it might have been recorded when Charlie Kirk came out and all that until Kim Guilfoyle. Because there's no way Kim Guilfoyle would have had that performance recorded and Don Jr. would have said, hey, go back and redo it if it was recorded.
Probably agrees to anything she says. But I gave her credit for actually saying, let me get out there and not and make believe that I'm in this big Madison Square Garden type of setting. I thought that was nice to have that kind of power. Not everybody has to get up there and speak the same.
I like was it Matt Gaetz that said I'm in a room emptier than Joe Biden's schedule? Was that Matt Gaetz that said that?
It could be right at the beginning. At the beginning he spoke. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, even Martha, when she came on after the convention, and she had to actually say, and I heard her say it, she said, I want to play for you this Cuban American because we didn't cover it while he was doing it live.
Oh my goodness. So they covered it, what time was that, 11:30 at night? I was asleep.
Yeah, she had to then play it. I want to give it to you in its entirety. Well, why didn't you do it when it was live?
Well, listen, here's the this will be the tell of what happened. The tell will be tonight. Because things can happen. And, you see that line. I must tell you, I saw the lineup, and I was like, okay, this is good. I didn't think it was going to be as exciting television as it was. So let's give them the benefit of doubt, Fox News, that they made a mistake last night, and they'll carry it tonight without Hannity and Tucker break it in more than CNN.
By the way, the other thing about the difference between the DNC and the RNC is that the DNC had always pre-recorded commercials type of thing, of fluffy pieces and everybody with different colors smiling and doing beautiful music. And the RNC really had speech makers. People come out one after another, real people speaking.
Yeah, not freaks on Zoom with flags I don't even recognize taking God out of the pledge.
People, I think, enjoy having a person come and speak.
Let me ask you a thing as a rabbi. I mean, because I got because this is something people don't talk about too much. When obviously I'm Christian, I'm Catholic, you're a Jew, being a rabbi, I love it. My favorite thing when people say a Jewish rabbi, is there another kind? But I love when people say that. But this under God thing, the Democrats took under God because that's offensive. We're praying to the same God, you and I, and even the Muslims. We're praying to the same God, aren't we, Rabbi?
I think they're trying to. They want to emphasize that this country is we're offending people if we say God. I mean, we're so worried about offending the people who don't believe in God. This is what we've come down to.
Yeah, a godless convention. Well, night one was good. I mean, it was spectacular. I mean, I loved how the president did these roundtables with the groups of people. That was wonderful.
Right, they made it sound like he was going to go up and give a 40-minute speech every night. That was what he was going to do. But he's not stupid. He's such a smart guy.
He didn't have the #1 show on NBC television for many years because he doesn't know how to do TV.
Right, he knows how to do a production.
And he was #1 in prime time. #1 in prime time. And that show, The Apprentice, people forget, it was on 2 hours a night most of the time.
They had courses at Harvard that just showed that show, The Apprentice, to teach people about business. That there were courses,
I think they've cut those courses at Harvard.
Probably did that.
Yeah. All right, appreciate the call. Rabbi David. All right, take care. One more call, then we'll break. And I know I'm going long in this segment. Steve's going to kill me. But I know people want to get things off their chest. So we'll take one more call, then we'll take the first break of the day. Good morning. You're on the radio.
Hello?
Yes, you're on the radio. What is your name and where are you calling from?
Oh my goodness, I am calling from Boca as well. And I don't live here. I'm just helping my mom move out of her house in Boca. And she, is 93 years old. I just, first of all, want to commend you for your wonderful talk show. It's really amazing. I'm enthralled with it.
Oh, thank you. You're not from town. Where are you from? You're not one of those New Yorkers that's coming down here escaping New York with the corona, are you?
Hell no.
No, where are you visiting from?
I'm visiting from Aspen, Colorado. I've lived in Aspen for 36 years. And interestingly enough, I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat, but I was brought up in a very, very Republican, staunch Republican. My father collected elephants, okay? GOP, Grand Old Party. He was a probate judge in Connecticut, and
yeah,
I just want to say that it's been an experience. I've been here for a month now, helping my mom move out.
So how'd you find the show? Your mother listens and got you listening?
But guess what happened? I went to this radio channel and stumbled upon you.
Ah.
And I couldn't have been more delighted. And I listened to it. I've been on hold now for half an hour.
Yeah.
But
well, I appreciate that.
And more importantly, I was born. I'm a documented immigrant. Okay, I was born in Switzerland. So we all know about Switzerland and the neutrality and all that. And so I see both sides to the...
Yeah, but what they would tell you, unless I'm wrong, is, yeah, but you're a white immigrant, so that's different.
You know what? When I was a little girl, I looked like a Korean War baby.
You look Asian?
Parents at dinner parties, they said, oh yeah, we found her in a laundry basket on the doorstep. And for the first 5 years of my life, I thought I was Korean.
It's very strange. I get, were your parents visiting Switzerland? I've never met an immigrant from Switzerland before. Really, I didn't think about it.
I'm a documented immigrant. I became an American citizen on April 7th, 1967.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, do the math. I'm now going to be 64 next month.
So let me ask you this, because you say you're not a Republican, not a Democrat. You going to vote for Trump back in Colorado?
I'm going to vote because I have the privilege and honor to be able to vote. And
But are you going to vote for? You going to vote for President Trump? Well, come on. Nobody knows who you are.
But he knows who I am, where I live.
So you don't want to say? You got to be. You wouldn't. If you weren't voting for Trump, you wouldn't like the show so much. So I want to put you down in the Trump column. There's a lot of good. We have a lot of listeners in Colorado.
And credits to the right.
We have a lot of listeners in Colorado, and let me tell you, there's a lot of good Trump supporters in Colorado. Sometimes they would really surprise you. Well, listen, I got to run for a break, but when you go back to Colorado, you can still listen to us on iHeartRadio.
I plan on it, but let me leave you with this information. Bill Clinton was my father's legal aid in New Haven, Connecticut when he went to Yale.
Oh my goodness.
And Hillary Clinton used to come into the office and boss everybody around, and she was a fucking little...
Oh, you gotta watch your mouth. You can't say, you're on the radio. You were doing so well. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, you can't speak about Mrs. Clinton that way on the radio. All right, let's take our break. If you want to call in, please do. 1-888-COCAINE 1-888-465-2631. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show. We will be back right after this.
If you suffer from excruciating back pain or sciatica, pay careful attention to what I'm about to tell you. According to a study in the medical journal Spine, back surgeries to alleviate back pain frequently backfire, leaving the patient in more pain than before they had the surgery. A second study from the University of Cincinnati College of Medicine provides clear evidence that 74% of surgeries for back pain fail. But there is an end to your suffering. There's a solution to your problem waiting for you with Dr. Troy Lemaski.
I'm very good on the dump.
Lemaski is my personal
very good on the dump.
And if the name sounds familiar, it's true. He's the brother of Dr. Janae Lemaski. Dr. Troy specializes in the elimination of back pain, sciatica, joint pain. He does it quickly, easily, and without surgery or pain medication.
He doesn't need it?
Yeah, you need it.
Yeah, I know you need it. Well, see, I have a dump also.
Yeah.
And I have
in a car,
yeah.
Any type of injury,
Oh, Rich,
or
did
slip
you get
and
that?
fall,
Yeah.
won't go away.
Well, the button on the dump I had, the dump button was here. So I just out of instinct, I go to the first. It's instead of over here, so it throws me off.
Online at
But I got it.
drtroylemaski.com.
Yes, you did.
Tell them that Steve Kane sent you.
Hi, this is George Corey of the Soul Authority. In this time of social distancing and sheltering in place, many people have been forced to neglect their feet. We at the Soul Authority are making it possible for you to still take care of your feet while remaining in your home, as we will send a doctor to your house for all of your podiatric needs. The best part of all is that Medicare pays for this visit. So, if you're a Medicare recipient, give the Soul Authority a call today at 954-597-7060. That's 954-597-7060. Don't let social distancing stop you from taking care of your feet. Call the Soul Authority today.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by Attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Are you concerned with the distribution of your assets at the time of your passing? Avoid probate.
I do that all the time. I ask questions I don't know the answer to. I don't care. I'm not in a court of law.
Free 1-855-FLA-3782.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio.
Oh man, we are back. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Show. We're talking about this great Republican convention. Oh man, had to dump our Republican. Well, she was talking about Mrs. Clinton, and she became very passionate. And there's a trick. If you're on hold, stand by. There's a trick to the dump button. We have the longest delay in radio. We have two delays. What you hear on the radio is at least 15 seconds old. If you're listening online, it's close to a minute delay. I know, it's crazy, isn't it? And there's a trick to it, and I love it. I've listened to national radio shows and have heard F-bombs go out, because what happens is the person on the air panics. They panic, and they hit the dump button. And the trick is, when you go for the dump, right here, I've got 7.5 seconds on my end, the first delay. Then we have a backup delay. But on my first delay is 7.5 seconds. So what you do, here's the trick, guys. You hang up on the caller, and then you hit the dump button. What most people do, because they go into a panic, is they hit the dump button, and they forget to hang up on the caller. The caller's still there, spewing all their profanities. So, you hang up on the caller, and then you hit the dump button. You've got 7.5 seconds, which is an eternity. You've got plenty of time. All right, our number, toll-free, 1-888-COCAINE 1-888-465-2631, celebrating this great convention, night one last night. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Jeff Jeff from Maine.
Hey, Jeff in Maine. I know there'll be no profanities coming from you, for sure.
Right. That was the greatest of all-time conventions I've ever seen in my life.
I'm going to agree with you on that. I've seen a lot of them, and I've seen a lot of them that happened when I was a kid or before I was born, replayed on C-SPAN over the years. I've never seen anything organized like that production was last night.
You know what? Well, one of the best to me was the legal immigrant from Cuba that gave such a passionate speech that I was in tears. And that's what a legal immigrant should be, an American. He was of Cuban descent, but he was a full-blooded American patriot.
Steve
and it
Kane
brought
Show.
me to tears.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about it. You know, when Obama was president, because we obviously here in South Florida, we've got a lot of Cuban immigrants. They call them exiles, right? The Cuban exile community, which means when communists fall, they'll return home. Who's going to return? Cuba's beautiful, I must say, but they're not going to return other than to visit. But anyway, a lot of Cuban exiles would tell you when Obama was speaking that he was saying the same things that the party bosses say in Cuba in Spanish. I had one guy came up to me and Steve at Wings Plus. He was from Hungary. He grew up in Hungary under the communists in Hungary during the Iron Curtain days, and he told us the same thing, that Obama said the same thing the Communist Party leaders said in Hungary when he was growing up. You know, and there's a big, yeah, I know, it's yeah, I know. Everything last night was great.
The second one that really touched me was the freed hostages that President Trump talked with. That was very good also.
Yeah, you know, I haven't seen anything happen like that since ever. You know, we've had. I remember there were some hostages being taken during the 80s when Reagan was president, and Oliver North had a failed Senate run, and he was desperate to get. Remember Terry Waite? Is Terry Waite still alive? He was the big hostage spokesperson guy. And he was like desperate to get Terry Waite. He like had to lobby him to get Terry Waite to say something positive about him, Oliver North. I've never seen a group of freed hostages like that before. Even the Iranian hostages, the American hostages that return home, you know, from Iran. I've never seen anything like we saw last night. And, you know, there may be more of those because those were only a few of the many hostages he's freed.
And another great part was when that cancer survivor said that she got the test trial that saved her life.
Yeah. I mean, look at this. I'm free because of Donald Trump. I'm alive because of Donald Trump. That was great. Yeah.
That was powerful.
And it really showed you, you know, John Voight did the voiceover in the beginning, who's been a guest on the Steve Kane Show here multiple times, John Voight. Great guy, John Voight. You know, and... you know, he talked about how, you know, in just 3.5 years, that's all he's been, right? He's only been in there a little more than 3.5 years. And this list of accomplishments, you look at Joe Biden, who's been in government as long as I've been alive, literally, and what's he done? What's his accomplishment?
He's done nothing.
Nothing at all. No. He voted yay and nay a few times. He yelled at his congressional hearing once or twice, you know, but he's done nothing. None of them. That's why very few presidents come from Congress, because they do nothing in Congress. Nothing. Very few.
And another good part was that black Democrat that said he was voting for Trump and Herschel Walker. Those were very powerful, and I believe that President Trump's going to get 40% of the African American vote, and there's no way they can stop him winning because of those numbers.
Well, you know, when I saw, you know, the black Democrat, Herschel Walker and Senator Scott, that you know, that kind of reminds me of when Trump was talking to the hostages. They were talking about freedom too. They've been freed from, one of them actually said the Democrats' mental plantation or something, one of them said. And Scott, it was interesting, in one generation his family went from the cotton field to the United States Senate, which is amazing. I mean, the United States Senate is pretty close to being president, right? I mean, that's a pretty big deal. That's not like being in the House. Being in the House is like being a used car salesman. You know, for the most part, they're low lives, like Dan's. But yeah, I mean they were freed hostages too, freed from the Democrat plantation.
That was one of the best orchestrated conventions of all times. It was so well thought out and done.
Yeah, except for Kim Guilfoyle.
Yeah, I couldn't stand her voice. She was off to me.
Yeah. Well, listen, I got to run for a break, but I appreciate the call, Jeff in Maine. All right, those of you on hold, stand by. We got kind of a staggered break schedule here in the first hour because I went long in the first segment because I wanted to get all those new people in. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to the Steve Kane Radio Show, Flo Rida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. Our number, toll-free, 1-888-GO-KANE-1. We're keeping it open phones, convention-related, okay? Open phones, convention-related, and I'd much rather hear what you all have to think, or have to say, or what you all think, as opposed to what I think, for now at least. And I'll just keep free-flowing with the calls for a while. I got some great sound bites we'll get to as well. Don't go anywhere. We'll take our break and be back right after this.
Do you think you've come in contact with someone who has coronavirus? Steve Kane's wife Lori did, and she went to Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs to find out if she has coronavirus.
So I came into contact with somebody who tested positive for COVID, and I was scared, and I needed results right away, so I went to Any Lab Test Now in Coral Springs. It was great. I didn't want to have to stay in line for 2 hours and have a swab stuck in my nose and in my brain. It was very pleasant. I made an appointment. They got me in within the hour.
The phones are on fire.
Within 20 minutes. Thank goodness the test was negative, and I can go back to work tomorrow. They also tested me for the antibodies.
Oh, are you listening on the headsets? Okay,
so
all right.
to do what I did, go over to Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs, for Steve Kane listeners, and tell them we sent you.
It's worth 15 minutes of your time to have peace of mind and know that you and your family are safe. Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs is located.
Oh, I haven't even done it yet. I've just been taking the calls. They were on hold before this show. Okay. All right, let me go. All right, bye.
954-906-5983.
That was Steve I was talking to.
954-906-5983. Any Lab Test Now of Boca is in the Sandalfoot Plaza, where the Western Beef is, south of Palmetto Park Road and north of Hillsboro. Call them at 561-237-5009. 561-237-5009. Make sure you tell them you heard about them on the radio.
If you suffer with diabetes, there's a 25% chance that you'll develop a foot ulcer that can lead to severe health consequences, including
still alive?
amputation. Wow. At the Soul Authority, at little or no cost, you can receive your very own therapeutic shoes and custom inserts. Medicare recipients are entitled to 1 pair of quality diabetic shoes and 3 custom inserts. Call the Soul Authority today, 954-597-7060.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for...
You're on the radio. Good morning. Caught you off guard there. Hey, you're on the radio. What's your name and where are you calling from?
It's the Lurch of Yonkers.
Oh my gosh, you're still around?
Liberal anymore. I'm not conservative. I'm not voting. I watched the convention. It was pretty good. I watched both. I'm just going to accept the results.
Well, I would imagine living under de Blasio's lockdown in New York and Cuomo's lockdown in New York that you'd be ready to vote for Trump.
No, I don't like anybody that's running, but he wins.
Well, you're not going to vote? You're not going to vote?
I'm not, but let's say you're right for me and he wins, then I will support it. I'll just look up the facts and be a realist.
Why will you not leave your dump of an apartment and go and vote? Aren't you tired of living the way that you do in New York with what the Democrats are doing to you guys up there?
I can not vote. And
oh, you've had your voting rights suspended? What was your crime?
I didn't commit a crime. I can vote. I just choose not to at this point.
You choose not to? You're an old guy. You don't have too many presidential elections left.
Only 43.
What year were you born?
I was born in 77, so
You're only 43? Oh.
Age, so...
I'm older than you.
Say I'm still a young man. So.
No, okay, you sound old. It's all that loafing loafing in Yonkers. All right, nobody cares about you, Lurch, and the Lurch of Yonkers. There's a Florida Lurch, and then he's the Lurch of Yonkers. Yeah, that convention last night was, I've never seen a convention like that. I've seen a lot of them. I've never seen something so exciting. And I'll tell you, it's amazing to have that kind of excitement without a live audience. And this is what it comes from. It's what I mentioned to one of the callers earlier. Donald Trump had the #1 show on NBC primetime for many years, The Apprentice. There was not a live audience during The Apprentice. In fact, The Apprentice, the most interesting part of The Apprentice was the part in the boardroom when he was one-on-one with the contestants. There's no audience. Sometimes the contestants would have people in the street watching. He understands television. He knows how to put on a primetime #1 rated production. He did it year after year. And I promise you, President Trump was very much involved in every aspect of everything that went on last night. And this is amazing. Those speakers that came up, it started with Charlie Kirk, who was amazing. And I've told you this, Charlie Kirk is good. He's young. He's got to mature a little bit, but he's outstanding. And as much as Ben Shapiro thinks he's going to be the next Rush Limbaugh, you can't be the next Rush Limbaugh if people are annoyed by you and don't like you. Charlie Kirk, we're probably going to be voting for Charlie Kirk one day. Right? He's this new wave after Tucker, after Rush. It'll be Charlie Kirk. We'll be hearing about him forever. He's spectacular. But every one of those speakers last night, whether it was the woman talking about her and her husband's coffee company, or the woman who survived cancer because Trump put the right to try out there, Charlie Kirk, all of them. They're just phenomenal. And to do that in an empty room, these are not people that are accustomed to speaking to empty rooms. With Matt Gaetz, Charlie Kirk, any of them. These are people that are accustomed to public speaking to an audience. And there's a big difference in speaking to an audience and speaking to an empty room. And not everyone can do it. Can you imagine? You saw when the camera pulled back how large that room was. Can you imagine going up to a podium and there's nothing there but a cameraman? And you're out there alone? And you can sound that interesting. Now, was that live or recorded? Does anyone know? See, I first thought it was recorded until Guilfoyle, because of the Twitter reaction and everything. So I don't know. If anyone knows, did they mention last night whether it was recorded or not? Now, we're going to take our last break of the first hour. I know we had a short segment, but I went long in the first segment because we had so many new callers and I wanted them to be able to get things off their chest. I'm going to get into some of the audio sound bites and some of my takeaways from not just last night, but throughout the day yesterday. And this is going to be a massive landslide victory for President Trump. I'm not supposed to say that. I've had people tell me, "Oh, Brian, if you talk about that, you'll depress the vote." Well, if I thought I had that kind of influence, that I was going to depress the vote by telling you all we're going to have a landslide victory, my ego would be as out of control as Trump. I don't think I've got that kind of influence. Trump people want to vote. Okay, they want to vote. This is the last time we are going to be able to vote for Donald Trump, who's the greatest president ever. Okay? And believe me, they all want to take that last opportunity we're going to have. The closest will be one day when we get to vote for Don Jr. for something. You know what I'd like to see Don Jr. do? Run for mayor of New York against this son of a gun that's running the place into the toilet. I really liked that section last night in the convention where they played the montage of all the Democrats praising Trump's handling of coronavirus. Oh, yeah. And then when the crisis is over and they're back to politics, they're telling us he did a rotten job. But that's not what they were saying during it. All right, listen, let's take our last break of the first hour. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. Our number toll-free from anywhere, 1-888-GO-KANE-1. 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. We'll be back. Don't go anywhere.
Dr. Janae Lamaski, I'm a licensed clinical psychologist. 2020 has been the year of coronavirus. So many of us have been locked in our homes for long periods of time. This can bring on severe depression, anxiety, and panic. Other worries, such as job security, money, and health, as well as families unable to see one another. These are all significant in affecting our mental health. If you are experiencing these difficulties, give me a call at 561-777-2021. That's 561-777-2021. Medicare and TRICARE accepted. I'm available telehealth as well as in-office appointments. Give me a call at 561-777-2021.
This is Brian Craig, and I want to tell you about Dr. Mitch Batez at the Boca Raton Center for Age Management. He's my anti-aging doctor. That's right, I have an anti-aging doctor now. I was starting to slow down a bit. I met with Dr. Batez, and he found that my testosterone level was low. We men begin losing our testosterone starting at age 30, and it goes down every year after that. Dr. Batez told me I was approaching the beginning of
Welcome to the show if you're new. This is the most pro-Donald Trump radio show anywhere in the world.
They're tiny
right?
little
Got the
pellets
flag on the
inserted
wall.
under my skin. And now my testosterone levels are being restored.
We
to where they
broadcast
were when I
on
was
4 radio
25 years
stations.
old.
My name's Brian
Thanks to
Craig.
Dr.
I'm the
Batez,
co-host.
I have
It's the
more
Steve
energy,
Kane Show.
I
Steve's
feel
at another
better,
studio
I look better. My love life, it's better.
in another
And my
part of
wife,
town.
she's thanking
I'm at the
Dr.
radio
Batez,
station.
too.
He has a studio in his
Bioidentical
home
hormone pellet
that we
therapy
just
isn't
actually
for
built.
men. It works wonders for women by reversing the symptoms of menopause, like the night sweats and the mood swings. Men and women, you don't have to live with the negative effects of aging, like loss of energy, loss of sexual desire, weight gain, or menopause. Call Dr. Matez and meet with him about bioidentical hormone pellet therapy. It works for me, and it'll work for you too. He's located in Boca, and his website is hormonetherapybocaraton.com. Or give him a call, 561-953-5490. 561-953-5490. And tell him Brian Craig sent you.
Listen to The Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for W.
All right, yeah, it's hurricane season. I know we got lucky with these storms that just went by Florida up into the Gulf of Mexico. But I got to tell you, this is hurricane season. We have it every year. You want to be prepared. Homeowners, whether you have a condo, a single-family home, or commercial property, call Debbie at I Will Advisors and have her review your hurricane coverage. Make sure that you have the coverage that you need, the coverage that you want. Make sure everything you want and need covered is covered. And when you talk to Debbie at I Will Advisors and she goes over your policy, ask questions. Is this covered? Is that covered? If this happens, will I be taken care of? She'll check it all out for you, and she'll also make sure you're not paying too much. You have nothing to lose other than saving some money. Anyone want to save money? Call her, all right? The number is 954-753-8080. No matter where you are in the state of Florida, she can help you from Key West all the way up through the Panhandle. If you're local, Debbie and her team can come to you if you want them to, but in this era of social distancing, they can handle everything remotely. You can call right now and leave a message. If you're an overnight listener, call at night and leave a message. They will call you back during business hours. 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080. Yeah, so let me get to some of this audio. Let me pull some of this up, because this is oh yes, C-SPAN. Oh, C-SPAN. C-SPAN, they've got this racket where they have a Republican line, a Democrat line, and an independent line. And the independent line's all Democrats. And half the Republicans are Democrats too, because you know how Democrats are. But a Democrat, this was during the convention last night. They're taking calls after the convention live on C-SPAN. They take a call from the Democrat line, which they feel is very safe. And man, did this call not go like they expected. This is C-SPAN taking a live call on the Democrat line on television after last night's incredible historic convention. Listen.
Rick in Lorain, Ohio, Democrat. Hi, Rick.
Steve Kane Show.
How you doing tonight?
Hey.
I'm a lifelong Democrat. I'm from Lorain, Ohio, which is a Democrat city in Ohio. And I just want to say, after watching the convention tonight on TV, on C-SPAN here, I am definitely changing my vote to Republican. And I'll tell you what, they just put the Democratic Party or the Republican Party to shame. I'm going to follow the Republican Party now.
But why? What was it that...
See, this guy on C-SPAN, he's in a panic. Because this is the Democrat line. You're supposed to be bashing the lies. But why? 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 Listen.
Republican Party now.
But why? What was it that convinced you about tonight?
It was the heartfelt way that came across to the American people, and I was really touched by the number of times they used the word God. They put God into everything, and the people on the Democratic side on their convention act like they were pushing God right out of it, and that had a lot to do with changing my mind.
Now, Rick, did you say you were a union member?
Okay, now here's the C-SPAN guy. The C-SPAN guy, he's in a panic. He takes a call from a lifelong Democrat on the Democrat line. So, and it's not supposed to go this way. He's supposed to be trashing Trump in the convention. So now, the C-SPAN host is going to try to discount this caller, and he becomes incoherent as he tries to do it.
Convention act like they were pushing God right out of it, and that had a lot to do with changing my mind.
Now, Rick, did you say you were a union member?
No, sir. I'm from Lorain, Ohio, and we are a Democratic town here and have been for 50 years.
That's it. Thank you so much.
And they hung up on him. That's it. What the hell does that mean? That's it. That's why. Because you're not a union man. He said he's a lifelong Democrat, C-SPAN. Oh, my goodness. All right. 1-888-GO-CANE-1. 888-465-2631. If you are new here, this is the Steve Kane Radio Show. My name is Brian Craig. Steve will be joining us in a bit. This is the longest running radio show in the state of Florida. We broadcast live in the mornings from 6 until 9 a.m. Eastern Time, of course, if you're a South Florida listener. And we have an overnight rebroadcast 7 nights a week, midnight till 6 a.m. So Monday through Friday, the Steve Kane Show is on the air from midnight until 9 a.m. We broadcast on 4 radio stations, 96.9 FM, 95.3 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470, both overnights and live in the morning. You can also listen to us on the iHeart Radio app and the TuneIn app. These are both free apps. And on the iHeart Radio app and the TuneIn app, search for us by our station call letters, WWNN. That's 2 W's and 2 N's. All right. Great convention last night. So excited. Richie the bus driver, you're on the radio.
Good
He'll
morning.
be Debbie Downer.
You didn't
Watch.
pick up on something.
Of course not, Richie.
Well, so I have to let you know you missed out on you put the CNN thing on the C-SPAN thing on just now, but you just had the call of the whole convention. The last call alerts from Yonkers. He's a defeated Democrat. He wouldn't have voted for Biden. Trump just put him to sleep. It's over.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe so, Richie. Maybe I missed out on something there. The lurch of Yonkers. Him not voting is a vote for Trump.
Exactly. This guy can't. Listen. That thing last night, what we watched, was so patriotic. I love America, man. I mean, anybody that loves this country, that after that, and it's the truth. The truth is that the press is browbeating this president for over since we know, and the Democratic Party is such sleazes, and basically the two conventions have been the same. And you know what they've been? They have one thing: Trump. The Democrats hate him, and the Republicans love him, and a lot of independents were seeing the difference in the quality of human being that's getting up there to speak. They're not.
I know, and I love how these liberals are like, there aren't enough black people, and then when they have black people, they call them tokens and toms, you know.
Tim Scott was excellent, man. I mean, did you see that speech?
Yeah, I saw it all. Yeah, I liked Herschel Walker.
So, yeah, my friend for 37 years. This is heartfelt. People that really.
You know Herschel Walker?
No, I said he knows Trump for 37 years.
Oh, he knows Trump for 37 years. Oh, I thought you said your friend. Okay, I thought he might have rode your bus or something.
Yeah, and listen, you had Hollywood behind the Democratic convention, and it looked like so tacky. And we were all saying, how are the Republicans going to outdo this? This was mostly live, by the way. They had the Herschel was
maybe Kim Guilfoyle did that just to show everyone it was live.
Yeah, it was live. It was a live convention. I mean, and the in between speakers, you saw monuments of Lincoln and Washington, and I mean, it just made you feel like an American.
You know, I was waiting for the convention to come on, and I watched a movie before the convention came on YouTube, Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Hunter. And I'm not going to get sidetracked. I read the book many years ago. I've never seen the film before. It's about Abraham Lincoln, and all the Democrats and the slave owners are vampires, and Abraham Lincoln plays a vampire hunter. And this movie never got promoted because it showed the Democrats like they really are. Vampires. Again, check that out. It's free on YouTube, Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. What are your thoughts on Fox News cutting away from the convention? Right at the beginning, by the way, with Tucker and then Hannity. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I understand what they're doing there, but you want to know something?
Well, what do you think they're doing?
Well, I think they're trying to be even-handed.
Let me tell you, if I were Hannity, but I'm more secure with myself than Hannity, even though he's worth $100 million, you know. I would go to my bosses at Fox and say, you're turning the audience against us by not covering the convention. They're blaming me. Can we just carry the convention? And I'll hang out if they cut away, and I'll come in. But they're getting. We don't want to anger our viewers at the host, and they're blaming me, and they're blaming Tucker. And Lord, we gotta run the convention. See, this is what's going on at Fox News. They're trying to score an interview with Biden and Kamala, one-on-one, and Chris Wallace and Paul Ryan and all those never Trumpers over there want it. So that's what that's about. They're trying to be fair and even-handed as a suck-up to get the Biden interview.
Yeah, I forgot her name.
If they get the Biden interview, if Fox News gets the Biden interview, they should have Dr. Siegel there doing the interview and do the cognitive test. The interview should be the cognition test.
What's her name? The ex-Democratic convention leader on the panel.
Donna Brazile with the Don King hairdo?
Yeah, she said that it's what the Republican. She was nasty, really. She tried to smile and be nasty. At the end, she said it's what the Republicans have taken away from black people. Remember that.
What is that? What is the Republican Party taking away from black people? The slave masters? I mean, what is she talking about?
I have no idea, but then Chris Wallace, who's also, it's what you didn't see at the Republican leadership. That in other words, none of the speak, they won't, except for.
You know, if I were on that panel with Donna Brazile, you know what I'd ask her? Do you take the Trump tax cuts, Donna Brazile? Those evil, unpatriotic tax cuts? Yeah. Of course she does.
You're looking. Well, here's the thing. I'll hang up.
Was Donna Brazile? I didn't see Donna. I went to sleep before all. I wasn't watching on Fox, and I had to go to bed before the analysis came on. Was she sitting in that room with the African decorations behind her that she didn't have there until about a week ago?
She was on the panel.
Oh, she had her in studio?
Yeah, and she looked like she had a smile on her face, and she looked like she was constant.
You know, let me tell you something. This week, Lori Loughlin is going to prison for 2 months for that cheating scandal with the kids in college. Look at what Donna Brazile did. Why is Lori Loughlin and Felicity Huffman did some time? Why is Felicity Huffman getting jail time and Lori Loughlin for a cheating scandal, and Donna Brazile gets a Fox News contract for a cheating scandal that has ramifications of election interference in the 2016 election? She shouldn't be on the panel. She should be. By the way, coming up after the break, the Democrats, they have a jailhouse snitch endorsing Biden. His name is Michael Cohen. He's a jailhouse snitch, and we're gonna hear from him coming up. All right, Richie, take care. It's 2 minutes after 7 a.m. We'll be back. This is the Steve Kane Show. My name's Brian Craig. Don't go anywhere.
95.3 FM, 96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470. WWNN Pompano Beach is the Florida Money Talk Network.
This is Steve Kane. I'm here chatting with Dr. Troy Lemaski, my personal chiropractor. Dr. Troy, how are you today?
Doing well, Steve.
Well, thank you,
Chiropractic is
Lisa.
an art.
Listen, if
All
you're
the
not
nerves in your
subscribed,
body is
please
fine.
subscribe.
Spines out of line, the
Even
nerves
if you don't
get
like
pinched,
Trump,
and of
subscribe.
course
All right,
you're
you'll
going
love
to
the
have
show.
all kinds of
If you are
symptoms and all
subscribed,
kinds of pain as a
please
result
check
of
and
that.
make sure
If you
you
get
are.
that spine
Click the
realigned,
notification
you're gonna
bell.
be in pain.
100%.
Hit the like
If you
and
have
share
a
the
joint,
feed. I know that's a
especially
lot,
your
but just
back,
do it during the
that's
break,
that's not
if you
moving
don't mind.
properly, it will put pressure not only.
And by the way, I
on
saw a
nerves,
super chat came in
but
earlier.
on
Thank
soft
you
tissue structures,
for that
such as the
super chat. I
ligaments, the
really
muscles, and it will
appreciate
create
that.
pressure. There are nerves within the joint called mechanoreceptors, and it will affect the actual nerves that are in the joint. Pinched nerves are very common, and they do come from spinal misalignment, but not everybody that has a problem has a pinched nerve.
I've been seeing you for a relatively short period of time, and you have the healing touch, I'll tell you that. When I walk out of your office, I feel like a whole new person. I know you take great care of everybody, but I know you're going to go that extra mile for our wonderful Steve Kane listeners. Doctor, give them the number of the office where they can make an appointment.
It's Coast Chiropractic Injury and Wellness Center, and the phone number is 954-463-3036. 954-463-3036. We're located in East Fort Lauderdale. We're just one block of US 1 and Oakland Park Boulevard, right off Middle River Drive. The address is 2510 East Oakland Park Boulevard, Fort Lauderdale.
Dr. Troy Lemaski, a great healer. Make an appointment today.
Stop paying an outrageous fortune for your tires. Go easy on your budget and buy your tires at Friendly Tire in Margate, where they have all the major brands like Goodyear and Firestone at discount prices that absolutely can't
Steve
be
Kane
beat.
Show.
Steve Kane's tires for his Toyota van at the other shops, $175 a tire.
Yeah, hold
at
on.
Friendly Tire, just $75 a tire. That's a $100 savings per tire. Tires for my daughter Emily's car, $135 at the shops around town. The price at Friendly Tire, only $65. That's a $70 savings per tire. These prices are out the door and on the road. Free mounting and balancing and no added charges. Friendly Tire have a great selection of good used tires too, starting at just $30 for most cars. Call my good buddy Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire. Tell him what you drive and he will give you a great low price right over the phone. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. Online, friendlytire.net.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by Attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Are you concerned with the distribution of your assets at the time of your passing? Avoid probate. Call the Siegel Law Group with 9 offices throughout South Florida, from Palm Beach Gardens to Coral Gables. Call toll-free 1-855-FLA-3782.
All right, here we go. Hour number 2.
You are listening to South Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. To call the show toll free, dial 1-888-GO-GAIN-1. That's 1-888-GO-GAIN-1.
All righty. Yes. Hour number 2 has begun, people. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show, on the radio since 1977. It is Tuesday, August 25th, 2020, and we are talking about this incredible Republican convention last night. Started our pep rally off wonderful, and we know it's just building and building and building. It's going to be a week of greatness. Does Donald Trump know how to put on a convention or what? See, the last convention he didn't really put on. That was the Republican Never Trump establishment that put on the last convention. Remember the last one they were talking about brokering it and stealing it from him? This one is a Donald Trump production. And we have open phones so far as it is convention election related. Okay? Convention election related open phones at 1-888-GO-KANE-1. I know some of you call me off the air to talk. I don't mean to be rude if I'm short with you off the air. I don't have time during the break for off the air conversations. I'm also running the board and playing the commercials and everything in here, and I'm looking over what I'm going to talk about when I get back and getting the sound bites lined up for the next segment and everything. So if I am short with you during the break, it's not that I mean to be or that I'm a rude guy. I just don't have time to talk during the breaks, and I apologize for that. Okay, now, I saw this yesterday prior to the convention. Have you guys heard about this yesterday? You're not going to see this on Fox News Channel. They're not going to put it out there. The Helmut Norpoth model. Now, Helmut Norpoth, his model has correctly picked 24 out of the last 26 presidential elections, including 2016. And I'm going to tell you this. I think he picked 25 out of 26. The only two he didn't correctly pick, 24 out of the last 26 with the Helmut-Norpoth model. It's like the European model with the hurricanes is the most accurate. He actually has picked the last 25 out of the last 26 presidential elections. The two that they say he didn't predict correctly was the 2000 election, which was won by a couple hundred votes. So that Bush Gore. And the other one, he gave the 1960 election to Richard Nixon, and they say he was incorrect there because President Kennedy won. That is not true. Richard Nixon won the election of 1960. It was stolen by the Democrats with all those ballots they found in Chicago. So he's actually gotten 25 out of 26 correct, even though they say 24 out of 26. Now, electoral college votes, to win the presidency, you need 270. Now, remember this time 4 years ago, do you remember what they were all saying? There's no path to 270. He's got no path to 270. You don't hear that kind of talk anymore, do you? Haven't heard that at all in this election. Now, I'm going to go through his methodology in just a bit, but I'm going to give you his result before I go through the Helmut-Norpoth model methodology. I'm going to give you the result. Electoral College, they're giving 176 Electoral College votes to Biden. President Trump, 362. Predicting a landslide. Now let me go through their methodology, and this is great. I saw this yesterday afternoon, prior to the start of the convention. Let me find. I got a few articles that go through this. Okay, here we go. I'm pulling this up on my iPad. Sorry, guys. Political scientist Helmut-Norpoth. Fields Media calls every week seeking comment on the upcoming presidential election. Why the interest in him? In 2016, he was one of a handful of experts who correctly predicted the outcome of the U.S. presidential election. Norpoth, a professor in Stony Brook's Department of Political Science, has enjoyed notable success forecasting elections based on his primary model, a statistical representation of U.S. presidential races based on data going back more than a century. In 2020, his model once again projects a Trump victory, giving the incumbent president a 91% chance of being reelected in a landslide, a controversial call that runs contrary to current polls. The primary model has correctly predicted 5 of the past 6 presidential elections, and when applied to previous elections, correctly predicts an impressive 25 of the last 27. Missing only the 2000 election in which George W. Bush defeated Gore and the 1960 election in which Kennedy defeated Nixon, 2 extremely close and contested votes with allegations of voting inaccuracies. Oh, finally, they're talking about voting inaccuracies in the 1960 election. Norpoth began working on his model after the 92 presidential election, putting it to the test for the first time in 96, which was Clinton-Dole. My first forecast was the 96 election, the one where Bill Clinton was reelected for a second term, he says. Predicting a Clinton win was considered a stretch at the time because he was pretty bad in his first term. Yeah, a lot of scandal and everything. Norpoth, who has been at Stony Brook since 1979, correctly predicted Clinton's win using a very simple early version of his model. He would expand the model in the years to come, an ongoing evolution that continues to this day, but one key metric that was apparent to Norpoth, even in the early stages, the importance of early presidential primaries. Okay, he calls it the primary model. After the 2008 election, in which Obama won the nomination, and then the election, despite failing to win the New Hampshire primary, Norpoth expanded the range of primaries to include South Carolina as well. I focus on early primaries and the way candidates perform in those early contests. It's a very good predictor and a leading indicator of what's going to happen in November. He described the focus on primaries as the key difference between his model and others. This is what Norpoth says. It's all about primary elections, which are real electoral contests, and the votes are counted and tabulated, he said. I also use real numbers, such as the results of previous elections, which indicate whether the pendulum is swinging away from or towards the White House party. This is something that also relies on real election results and not opinion polls of any kind. Unlike many other projections, Norpoth's equation ignores approval ratings. That's a poll number, he says, and I don't use those. I think the primary performance of a sitting president is a proxy for that. But I don't use any polling data or data related to opinions. In light of this information, Norpoth said he wasn't surprised that his model gave Trump a very strong chance at a second term. Now listen to this. Oh yeah, they don't want to put this on Fox News Channel. When I looked at New Hampshire and I saw that Donald Trump got 85% of the votes and the closest challenger was Bill Weld at 10%, I was pretty sure what the model was going to predict, he said. If Trump had gotten only 55% and an opponent had gotten 40%, I may not have predicted that Donald Trump would have a chance to win. Maybe it would depend on the other side as well. As for Democrats, Norpoth said that the sheer number of candidates and the inability of any one of them to get off to a fast start may have doomed the party from the start. People have forgotten how Joe Biden did in New Hampshire, said Norpoth. He was terrible. Biden got 8.4% of the vote. Now keep in mind, Trump got 85%, Biden got 8.4%, which is unbelievable for a candidate with any aspirations of being president. So was there anything any of the Democrats could have done this year to get in a better position, or was it Donald Trump's election to win or lose? Norpoth says this: what the Democrats should have done if they were really serious about beating Trump would have been to rally around one candidate right from the start and not have a protracted battle in which people get wounded, Norpoth said. They needed to pick one person and have everybody else take a pass. That's the only way I could see that my model would have worked in their favor. Norpoth, who has studied election primaries going back to 1912, and again, going back since 1912, and he was only incorrect with Kennedy Nixon and Bush Gore. And I give him Kennedy Nixon. He's confident of the math behind his model, while some might suspect that unusual circumstances, the pandemic, and civil unrest in the wake of the George Floyd killing might have an unpredictable effect on the election result. Norpoth said those crises have no bearing on his projection. My prediction is what I call unconditional final, he says. It does not change. Yeah, you got to keep in mind, there's always a crisis. World War I, World War II, a depression, Vietnam, and he's still been right. Civil rights movements and things. It's a mathematical model based on things that have happened. The presidential election of 2016 has happened. The primary results are in. I can add the results of more primaries, but even those numbers have happened and cannot change either. Norpoth, when asked to comment on the argument that the Trump presidency has been widely described as being unlike any previous presidency, he says this: every president is unique, and I think people get a little carried away with that description. Obama was the first black president. Is that not unique? If Hillary Clinton had won in 2016, she would have been the first woman president. Is that not unique? I grant that Trump is in many ways a very special kind of character, but I think we also tend to exaggerate that. One model change Norpoth has made for the upcoming election has been to focus on the Electoral College. Norpoth says this: now I predict straight to the Electoral College. I've never done that before, but I made an adjustment because of the mismatch we had in 2016, and I'm prepared to see Trump lose the popular vote again. So this prediction is entirely about electoral votes. I get a lot of reactions. I get a lot of mail. Some of the comments are unprintable. I do get backlash, and I get it from people whose opinions I value. Okay? Some people find it difficult, but at the core, it's just math. So, he's predicted correctly 25 out of the last 27 elections. He is predicting an Electoral College landslide. Biden, 176 electoral votes. Donald Trump, 362. You're not going to see this on Fox unless it gets out there all over the place and they feel the need to try to discount it. But everything about this guy, you can take it to the bank. And in the last century, he's only been wrong in one election. I'm giving him the 60 election. They applied his model to past elections, and it was accurate in all except 2060. This is absolutely amazing. I know. See, now why won't Fox do this? Well, one of the reasons is, well, of course they hate Trump, and they've got Paul Ryan on the board of Fox News Channel. But the other thing is the news want to have a horse race. They want to have a competition. If there's no competition, if you start getting out there this early with a landslide prediction like this, they're afraid they'll lose viewers. People will only be stuck by their television all day and all night if it's a photo finish prediction going on. That's one of the reasons you're not going to see this. Even after this momentous convention, this is going to be a real test to the polls, right? The anti-charismatic Biden last week. What did Matt Gaetz call Biden? Basement dweller Biden last night? Is that what he called him? I like that. Basement Biden, I think would be better. Basement Biden last week, and then we saw opening night. If the polls do not show a massive bump for President Trump at the end of this week, that'll be proof positive, I think, to anyone who doesn't already believe that the polls are fake. All right, 19 minutes after the hour. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. Our number toll-free, 1-888-GO-KANE-1, 888-465-2631. We'll be right back.
We are chatting today with Frank, the owner of two magnificent Ace Hardware stores. One, Deerfield Beach, 365 South Federal Highway, about a quarter of a mile south of Hillsborough on the west side of Federal Highway. And the other, Beach Ace Hardware, located at 232 Commercial Boulevard, half a block west of A1A in Lauderdale by the Sea. Well, one of the things I noticed when I first walked into Ace Hardware is that you carry such a wide variety of the big brands all under one roof. It's astounding.
That's Ace's new practice. It's called Best Brands, and under one roof we have major categories. Let me give you an example of two. Yeti coolers, Craftsman hand tools, Milwaukee hand tools, Steel power equipment, Benmore paint, Weber grills, Napoleon grills, Traeger grills, Big Green Egg. We are a platinum dealer. We have the largest selection of Green Egg products, all under one roof. All with people that are experienced can show you how to use these products.
There are lots of Ace Hardware stores, but there are only two that are advertising with the Steve Kane Show. We're talking about the Deerfield location, a quarter of a mile south of Hillsborough Boulevard on the west side of Federal, and of course the Beach Ace Hardware located at 232 Commercial Boulevard, a half block west of A1A in Lauderdale by the Sea. Very, very special locations. Be sure to mention Steve Kane sent you.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for Dope.
Welcome back, guys. We're talking about everything convention-wise. Your calls are welcome at 1-888-GO-KANE-1. That's Kane with a K, K-A-N-E, and the number 1, 888-465-2631. You know, one of our sponsors took part in the convention last night. Did you see yesterday when they did the votes? For the nomination, who did I see? The inventor of the MyPillow himself, Mike Lindell, was there. Oh yeah. If you follow me on social media, I went and took a picture with Mike Lindell up by my TV and put it on Instagram and Twitter. Mike Lindell was at the convention yesterday. That's right, voting to nominate President Trump as the nominee of our party, which he went on to get last night. Now, listen. Support Mike Lindell. He's under attack. Did you guys see what they did to him on CNN last week? Oh my goodness. See, he's pro-Trump and he's a Christian, so they hate him over there. Anderson Cooper should be ashamed of himself, the way that he behaved with Mike Lindell last week. But listen, support MyPillow, support Mike Lindell, and support the Steve Kane Show, and order yourself something at MyPillow.com. There's incredible discounts when you use the promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E. The buy one, get one offer is spectacular. You buy one MyPillow, you get a second one for free, but you've got to use the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at checkout. There's a lot of other great specials, too. I saw last night, I was watching Fox News prior to the convention, and a commercial came in for the 6-piece MyPillow towel set. When you use the promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E, buy one set of MyPillow towels, get a second set free. But you've got to use the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at checkout at MyPillow.com. And you see the demonstration of those MyPillow towels. I mean, they are spectacular. KANE at checkout at MyPillow.com. Any special you see there, you can take advantage of with the promo code KANE. All right, let's go to the phones. You are on the radio. Good morning.
Good morning, Brian. What a great show we had last night, you know.
Oh, I thought you were going to say what a great show we had this morning, which of course would be this show.
Of course, well, you always have a great show, and thank you for having that show. But man, I was pleasantly surprised. Everybody sounded so professional. I didn't hear one slip up. You know, the only thing I can say I would have liked to see is Trump Jr.'s girlfriend talk a little lower. I think enthusiasm was a little bit too much.
Yeah.
Other than that, when that black Democrat came out, oh man, the Democrats must have been going out of their mind.
Well, it was like watching Frederick Douglass up there. You know what I mean? Here you got a guy who got up there and said, I was a slave of the Democrat Party, and I am now free, and I am trying to free other African Americans from, and I think he said the Democrat mental plantation or something like that. He had something like that. He said, yeah.
They were, and then, you know, when the person who came on from the shooting, man, I didn't.
Andrew Pollack. Let me tell you, everyone loves Andrew Pollack, you know, and, you know, he lost his daughter at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, and he described it, and I didn't realize how many times she had been shot. That animal who's still waiting trial, he really had a thing for her, probably because she was so beautiful and, you know, she didn't give him the time of day, you know what I mean? You know, I mean, he had a real personal beef with her. He shot her like 9 times.
She put another kid underneath it. It's like...
It would be heroin. A female's a heroine, a man's a hero. But, you know, Andrew Pollack, I so wish that he would run for Congress over there in that district in Parkland. They got that Democrat over there. I forgot his name. He's a real piece of work. And, you know, Andrew Pollack moment last night, people will forget this because they don't want to remind you. On the day of the shooting, he didn't know what happened to his daughter. He was running around town trying to find his daughter, and he was wearing a Trump shirt because he just happened to have it on that day. And the left harassed him because he was wearing a Trump shirt that day. Do you guys remember that? They harassed Andrew Pollack because he had a Trump shirt on. He just coincidentally had it on the day of the shooting, you know. And they were, and his daughter was, you know, what happened. And he's driving around desperately looking for his child. Yeah, and if you see the pictures of him that day, you'll see he was driving his car and he had a Trump shirt on, and they were harassing him.
Unbelievable. You know, I wear my Trump hat all the time, and I've only got people who say, thanks.
Well, it depends on where you are. You know, that day I went over in front of the school after the shooting, and that network guy came up to me and started harassing me. I forgot I had a Trump shirt on. I wear them all the time, and he started harassing me and recording me and trying to accuse me of stealing TV equipment and things like this. Remember that?
Unbelievable. These people.
You know, that's the left. But Andrew Pollack is, it's terrible what happened to Andrew Pollack. I mean, I can't even imagine. But I would love him to run for Congress down here. We could use him.
Certainly, those 2 people who protected their house were great as well. That liberal who.
Well, it was pretty frightening that one of the people terrorizing him is now going to be in Congress.
You know, what the hell's wrong in America?
What is their name? Is it the McCloskeys? Is that their name, the McCloskeys? I'm shocked that they're still in St. Louis. I mean, I would be afraid if I were them, wouldn't you? I'd be the hell out of St. Louis.
Well, to leave that house would be a little tough, man. That's a beautiful house.
I know. They showed it last night. It looks like the White House they live in.
Very, very nice. And, you know, I guess they're going to have to get...
It's like the Flagler Mansion up here in Palm Beach.
Yeah, I've been to that. That's unbelievable, too.
Yeah, no, it was, and I think the McCloskeys are Democrats.
No, you think they what? No.
Yeah, I think they're Democrats. I think I've heard. If somebody knows, let me know. But I remember after the incident, I heard people say they were Democrats.
Not anymore, man.
Yeah, not anymore. Well, yeah, not anymore. Well, you don't have to be a Democrat. You can vote any way in the general election. You don't have to be a Democrat to vote for Trump in November. I mean, a Republican. You can be a Democrat and vote for Trump.
You know what I've noticed lately? I mean, I don't want to go off the subject on the convention, but every Democrat I talk to, and I'll ask them, are you in favor of this? Are you in favor of that? They don't really want to.
What was your favorite part of the convention last night?
I guess
I like my favorite part in the convention. There were a couple of them when Trump was talking to the people, you know, the hostages and the first responders. I like that. I thought that was really cool. What a rapport he has with people.
It was all good. I didn't see anything that was not good. You know, I did notice. I turned over to MSNBC.
Oh, they didn't carry it. They had Rachel Maddow on. They didn't carry the convention.
They were showing it, but then every time something good would come up, they either go to commercial or when the doctor came out and mentioned his talking about how the coronavirus is being helped and Trump did this. They had a doctor.
And that's not true. Yeah, I really thought it was interesting that montage they had of Cuomo and the other Democrats praising President Trump's coronavirus response. That was great. I believe, this is what I believe, okay, about that convention. I believe it was put on by two people, and I forgot the name of the other guy. I think it was put on by Donald Trump and the guy that did Survivor and The Apprentice, the big reality TV show producer. He's married to Roma Downey, the actress. He created Survivor. He created The Apprentice. He created all these reality shows. Is it Barnett? What's anybody know what I'm talking? As I was talking earlier, the last convention was put on by the Republican establishment, the ones that were talking about a broker convention. This one was put on by Donald Trump and his team, Mark Burnett. Mark Burnett. I believe Trump put this convention on with Mark Burnett because he had the #1 show on television in prime time for many years. That show was on for like 10 years, The Apprentice. You look at that convention last night. Now, again, I wasn't watching on Fox where they cut away and all that. I was watching it on YouTube. That was a interesting presentation that I couldn't walk away from. And it was that good. That was a professional television production. I'm telling you, Mark Burnett, who is a conservative and a Christian, creator of Survivor, The Apprentice, Big Brother, and all those other shows that are hits still today, worked with Donald Trump on that. All right, listen, I got to run, Doug. 31 minutes after the hour. Steve will be joining us in a bit, and I'm going to play. I haven't really played too much audio. I got a few audio bites I want to play. I want to share with you when Steve joins us. I want to share the CNN analysis of last night, okay? It tells you everything. It's like a poll. We'll get to that when we get back from the break. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. Our number toll-free, 1-888-GO-KANE-1. That's Kane with a K, K-A-N-E, and the number 1.
Brian Craig here. When it comes to auto repair, you want a garage that you can trust. Someone that will only do work on your car when your car needs work. Introducing Champagne Automotive in Boca Raton, the latest sponsor of the Steve Kane Radio Show. Tom called in on the radio to tell us about his experience with Champagne Automotive.
Hi, this is Tom from Tamarack.
Hey, Tom from Tamarack, what's up?
I just want to tell you guys something. I spent the last 2 days trying to get brakes for my car. I was leaving the house yesterday to go try another place that had a lower price. They wanted $800 for the brakes. and that advertisement came on for Champagne. I live in Western Tamarack. I said, let me take a drive up there. Well, I was almost blown over how friendly, honest, old school these people are.
Old school, that's really the term that really describes it.
But let me tell you, the guy I had gone to previously won $800.
Yeah, are you ready? Or?
Need to take your power steering fluid, and Ed, the owner, put the car up on the lift, pulled the wheels, because you don't need brakes, and I about fell over.
Wow, well, have to tell me
Okay,
the story.
all right, okay, bye.
So it wasn't that your vehicle was misdiagnosed at the other place. You were dealing with a crook.
Oh, absolutely. This guy wanted to sell me everything but a washing machine. I don't want that.
Now, this is our new sponsor. We have wanted for a long time to have an auto repair shop. When it comes to auto repair, that is the most difficult category for us to find as an advertiser, because most are like this guy you were dealing with the other day over in Tamarack.
They're crooks.
And we found Champagne Automotive. Ed, who's the owner, is a listener of the program. They come very, very highly recommended. So I appreciate you calling in and telling us the good story. Now, Champagne Automotive, they're in Boca off Spanish River Boulevard, immediately west of Dixie Highway. The number is 561-245-8101.
Are you all subscribed? If you're not subscribed, please subscribe.
8101.
The Steve Kane
Coming
Show
back.
is brought to you by attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Veterans and spouses of veterans, you may be entitled to benefits that you are not aware of, including long-term care benefits. Call attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group and find out what benefits are available to you. With offices in Boca Raton and Fort Lauderdale, call toll-free 1-855-FLA-3782. 1-855-FLA-3782.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for W.
All right, we're back. I'm Brian. This is Steve Kane Show. I was just looking at this story. This is crazy. Kentucky Fried Chicken has dropped finger licking good as their slogan amid the COVID pandemic. Okay, now this finger licking good thing. First off, you're only licking your own fingers, not other people's fingers, which are the same fingers you're using to eat the Colonel's chicken. Okay? They don't say lick other people's fingers, lick your own, the ones that you have at your mouth already that you're holding the chicken with. It seems a little strange. All right, so we had this great convention. I know, it's crazy. Had this great convention last night, and CNN, just total depression. CNN, depressed to the point. Well, let me play it. I got a few things here. Let me see here. This is, okay. This is Dana Bash, Jake Tapper, and the rest of the crew. I think Blitzer might be here. Anderson Cooper may be. They're not happy campers. This is CNN's analysis. They're cutting away. Because the fact checkers, they got to cut away and correct the record. There's lies going out over CNN. Listen to this. They're watching the same convention we watched, right? Listen.
Appearance tonight from President Trump. Dana, your reaction?
Oh, it's Dana. I thought it was Dana. Her name's Dana? Or is he just so depressed he mispronounced her name? I've been calling her Dana Bash forever. It's Dana? All right, anyway.
Appearance tonight from President Trump. Dana, your reaction?
Well, first of all, Wolf, they were really not socially distant, not wearing masks.
Oh my goodness, they weren't properly social distanced and not wearing masks. It's America, not North Korea, Dana Bash. She's very upset about that.
Reaction.
Well, first of all, Wolf, they were really not socially distant, not wearing masks, standing there talking. Still, it is pretty telling that the focus for the president's very first appearance at this convention was the coronavirus pandemic, which has killed more people.
See, this is Dana Bash. She's like, I don't get it. We had a pandemic. We shut the country down. People died. And he's still out there. That's popular. They're confused. Just wait it out 4 more years. He's only going to be president 4 more years. They can't handle it. Oh my God. I don't understand, Wolf. We had this pandemic and he's still popular. We thought this was going to tank his chances.
It is pretty telling that the focus for the president's very first appearance at this convention was the coronavirus pandemic, which has killed more people in America than in any other country in the world. Now, we've heard President Trump say the virus will disappear and we have it under control. Well, tonight it was really clear that they're acknowledging what sources have told me for some time, that his allies have been pushing the president himself to recognize that.
Now, who the hell is a source in the know that's talking to Dana Bash? If somebody is in the Trump circle, they're not a source of Dana Bash. They're not telling her squat. Not if they're a real insider.
That this coronavirus is where he is the most vulnerable, and it is the dominant issue in this race.
See, she's a little bit right there, Dana Bash. This is the dominant issue, corona. Yeah. Because Joe Biden said, vote for me. I'm going to shut down the country, close all the businesses, and you're all under arrest, confined to your home like Michael Cohen under house arrest. I wouldn't be surprised if Biden puts ankle bracelets on America to make sure you don't leave your house. Oh my goodness. I don't get it, Wolf. We tanked the economy. We had this pandemic, and still, I don't get it. All right, back to CNN.
Very, very forceful speech, Jake, from Kimberly Guilfoyle.
Forceful is one word for it. I can't help but think that so much of this convention so far is great for Donald Trump's base.
Well, who else are we going for? We're not going for you, Jake Tapper. We're not going for Dana Bash. This is our pep rally. It's good for his base. Jerk.
And yet, with a couple of exceptions, is not even remotely reaching out to any voters in the middle.
Really? You think so? When I see the McCloskeys out there talk about how they were terrorized in their home, and they were charged with crimes, but those for defending their home, but those that terrorized them were not. I think that reaches out to a lot of people in the middle, Jake Tapper. When I see a black man who's a Democrat come out and talk about how Donald Trump freed him from bondage of the Democrat plantation, I think that reaches out to a lot of people. Not you at CNN. You guys hate him. All right, back to CNN. This is CNN's analysis. Can you tell how depressed they sound? Oh, man. This convention is depressing them. It's energizing me. It's energizing you. It's energizing us. But CNN, they're down in the dumps. They need to call Dr. Lemaski and get into some therapy sessions. Even though they're up in New York and Washington, she does telehealth. So she can do sessions on video chat or by the phone with anyone in the mainstream media.
Heard a lot of grievance, really, this evening. Some of them perhaps understandable, but we've heard from somebody who hates unions. We've heard from somebody who hates Democratic leaders.
By the way, we didn't just hear from someone who hates unions. We heard from an educator, a school teacher from California, who said unions don't speak for her. We heard from someone who hates unions. Well, that's one way to say it. But you know what? Most people do hate unions.
In Baltimore, we heard from the McCloskeys in St. Louis, who certainly don't like the Black Lives Matter protesters.
Well, you know what, Jake Tapper? If those protesters were going down in front of your home, which I'm sure is very luxurious, like the McCloskeys, I don't think you would support those protesters either. I would love those protesters to go by Jake Tapper's house at night with bullhorns or in the middle of the day and tear down his gates and see how Jake Tapper likes it. Oh, I love it! Tear down the gates of my community. I love it! Come on in, BLM.
But we have yet to really hear much in terms of the positive, optimistic, hopeful message. We were told an emotional appeal by Cuban immigrant Maximo Alvarez. We are now just minutes away from the headline speeches of the evening from the former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, Nikki Haley, from the President's son, Donald Trump Jr.
By the way, Indian American, right? Just like Kamala.
President's son, Donald Trump Jr., and then Republican Senator Tim Scott. They could all offer a glimpse of the Republican Party's future after President Trump, whether that's in January 2021 or January.
Wishful thinking, Tapper.
Scott and Ambassador Haley bring some measure of stature and, of course, diversity that Republicans are so eager to put on display at this and every convention. Both of them defenders of the president who have shown an occasional willingness to call him out politely.
You know, I love how they say the Republican Party's not diverse enough, and then when there is diversity, they criticize it. Let me tell you this. The Republican Party is more diverse than it was 8 years ago, even 4 years ago, isn't it? It's getting more diverse every day because, Tapper, you're losing people. You're losing people.
Politely, as they carefully navigate their own political futures. Donald Trump Jr.,
Steve
of
Kane
course,
Show.
brings something very different to the mix.
Oh,
While he may
hey.
lack gravitas,
Steve
he
Kane
pulls
Show.
no punches. He is as eager as his father, if not more so, to spread lies and obscenely false accusations about
Obscenely false allegations.
something of a rock star.
Yes.
MAGA proud.
The president's son, Donald Trump Jr., making a strong case for his dad to get reelected. Also, Jake, making a very, very strong, very negative argument, very dark vision for America if Biden is elected.
Yeah, that's true. Biden said he's going to close down the country, shut down all the businesses, put America under arrest in their homes. That's a dark vision, and Biden just said it to ABC News the other night, Blitzer.
You know, I'm struck by the fact that usually when a family member of the president speaks at a convention, it's to provide testimony as to how caring and loving that individual is. And certainly President Trump is somebody who is perceived as having a significant empathy gap with Joe Biden. But we really didn't hear anything along those lines from the president's oldest son just now about what kind of dad he was, what he's like behind the scenes. It was really a political speech that could have been given by anybody in the Trump administration. And it was also odd, I felt, because he talked about how anybody is welcome in the Republican Party. The Republican Party is the party of free speech, but anybody who has been following the Trump administration knows that critics of President Trump's, Dana, are not particularly welcome in the Republican Party.
Well, he's our nominee and our president. That's correct. They're welcome at the Democrat Party. John Casey. Who else did they have over there? Colin Powell. Jeez. That's right. If he's our nominee, he's the president, he's the leader of the Republican Party, and no, we don't let Democrats who are Republicans in name only come and speak at our convention. No. And I love how Jay Tapper wants all this opinion diversity over there at the Republican convention. I don't hear any diversity of opinion on CNN from any of their hosts. They might have some soundbite or two from some pundit that they beat up for 30 seconds, but where's the diversity among their on-air staff? Oh, look who's on the line. Dr. Mitch Matez, our anti-aging doctor. Dr. Matez, good morning.
Good morning, Brian. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, Brian. It's another beautiful day here in paradise. Everybody's all excited about the convention last night.
I leaned over too far. I leaned over like this. I almost fell over. I almost fell over to the window just now.
All of this stuff is going to come. It's going to go, and we're still going to be here, and we're still going to have our lives to live, and we're still going to have to get up, go to work, do our stuff, take care of our kids, et cetera, folks. And if this is getting you down, and you're having troubles getting going, and getting your energy, and you don't feel like you have much libido going on, and all the other things that go along with all this depression that everybody's having, give us a call, because we can fix it very easily. All we have to do is just balance out your hormones, put you back where you were before all this nonsense started, and you'll feel like $1 million again.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Hormone replacement pellet therapy works miracles. It does improve mood, doesn't it? Why is that?
Well, I'm going to make an assumption here, Brian, that there is some connection scientifically between your hormone levels and your moods. And I think we've known that for a long time. You know, the old, maybe true, maybe not adage is that the hormonally imbalanced premenopausal women would get quite cranky and moody. And
yeah.
And there is no question that as we age, many people develop mood disorders that we do not have when we're young, and they are correctable. We replace the hormones, get the balances back, and the mood disorders just disappear.
Well, I guess it makes sense because the signs and symptoms of menopause in women are reversed, including the mood swings. So in men, men have there's a male form of menopause called andropause. And what hormone replace, and that's what happens when men get older. We don't know the term as much as menopause for some reason, but andropause, menopause completely stopped and reversed with hormone replacement pellet therapy. Listen, call Dr. Mitch Matez. It's a completely free consultation if you mention the Steve Kane Show. 561-953-5490. 561-953-5490 and online. Hormone Therapy, BocaRaton.com. All right, Dr. Matez, we'll talk later in the week.
About the effects of aging on the breast.
Yes.
And how you can fix it without surgeries.
That's right. All right, take care. Dr. Mitch Matez, give him a call today. We will be right back after this.
Do you think you've come in contact with someone who has coronavirus? Steve Kane's wife Lori did, and she went to Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs to find out if she has coronavirus.
So I came into contact with somebody who tested positive for COVID, and I was scared, and I needed results right away, so I went to Any Lab Test Now in Coral Springs. It was great. I didn't want to have to stay in line for 2 hours and have a swab stuck down my nose into my brain. It was very pleasant.
Yeah, I was expecting lots of trouble. They're depressed because they see that it's over. They saw the convention. They know it's over.
And I can go back to work tomorrow. They also tested me for the antibodies, and I haven't been exposed.
Yeah, I was telling everybody earlier, the beach is down the street, and I went to the, I'm saying in this shoot too, I went to the beach this morning before I came to work. It's right, it's 5 minutes away. Well, here's the sand in my shoes.
Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs
you guys can see it
located at 955 North University Drive on the southeast corner
There's
of
some
University
sand from my
and
shoes
Maplewood, near the Coral Square Mall.
from the beach this
Call them
morning.
at 954-906-5983. 954-906-5983.
I know. It's nice working so close to the ocean.
Any Lab Test Now of Boca is in the Sandalfoot Plaza, where the Western Beef is, south of Palmetto Park Road and north of Hillsboro. Call them at 561-237-5009. 561-237-5009. Make sure you tell them you heard about them on the radio.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WWNN.
All right, welcome back. 10 before 8. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Show. I was surprised in our YouTube live chat room. I assumed that we were going to have a chat room filled with liberal trolls today, and I haven't seen one, which is very unusual. Usually we have some liberals in there with all their nonsense. They see it now. It's over. It's over. Just on the first night after Basement Biden's convention last week, I know. Matt Gaetz said basement dweller Biden. I'm taking that from Matt Gaetz, who I love, Florida congressman. I'm just going, Basement Biden. Hashtag that, everybody. Basement Biden. They're depressed. Where's Al from Coral Springs? Where's liberal Al the John? Where are the Democrats? You can tell by CNN. We got to cut a new spot for depressed Democrats. For Dr. Lemaski. I'm telling you. Democrats are in hiding this morning on this program. Complete hiding. Where are the Democrats? Now, they have a new voice. The Democrats. They have a new voice out there. They got a new spot on the internet. You Democrats may be depressed, but the Democrats now have a new spokesperson against President Trump. I told you this was going to happen many, many months ago. They have a jailhouse snitch, the Democrats. They have a jailhouse snitch who's now out there trashing Trump. The jailhouse snitch, his name is Michael Cohen. And Michael Cohen made what I would describe as a hostage video. He made a commercial for the Democrats, and I'm going to play it for you right now. Jailhouse snitch, Michael Cohen in his Democrat hostage video that aired last night.
For more than a decade, I was President Trump's right-hand man, fixer, and confidant. I was complicit in helping conceal the real Donald Trump. I was part of creating an illusion.
See, you know what they're trying to do? He's Robert De Niro, or not Robert De Niro. He is, who's the consigliere? Robert Duvall. He's Robert Duvall from The Godfather. I was Trump's consigliere, or however you pronounce it. That's what they're trying to do here.
Later this week, he's going to stand up and blatantly lie to you. I'm here to tell you he can't be trusted, and you shouldn't believe a word he utters. So when you watch the president this week, remember this. If he says something is huge, it's probably small. If he says something will work, it probably won't. And if he says he cares about you and your family, he certainly does not. He's going to tell you that if you re-elect him, the economy will bounce back, that only he can get us out of this economic crisis.
I alone can fix it.
Maybe, for those like him. But if you think he cares about working-class Americans, you're dead wrong. The president is going to talk to you about law and order. That's laughable. Virtually everyone who worked for his campaign has been convicted of a crime or is under indictment, myself included.
Yeah.
When the president gets in front of the cameras,
Thanks for the sub.
remember that he thinks we're all gullible, a bunch of fools. I was part of it, and I fell for it. You don't have to like me, but please, listen to me.
Okay, jailhouse snitch, Michael Cohen. Michael Cohen, who will, you know, I liked Michael Cohen. When he started trashing Trump when he first got busted, I unfollowed him on the Twitter, and I will not follow him again. That's my strong statement against jailhouse snitch, Michael Cohen. But you know, when I watch that video, I actually watch it as opposed to just hearing it, that's a hostage video. Like those ones you see with the prisoners of war that said, or in Vietnam, I've committed crimes against the Democratic Republic of Vietnam. I've committed war crimes at the urging of my capitalist leaders, and I apologize to the good people of Vietnam for... That's what that is. That's a hostage video. I will say whatever I've got to say to get out of prison and get a book deal so that I can live and survive. Okay, I'll say whatever I need to say so I can sign a contract and become a paid pundit and analyst on CNN. I will do what I got to do because I can't practice law anymore. And I only had one client. His name was Donald Trump, and I've betrayed the confidence of him, so no one will hire me again. That's what's going on here. And when you see Michael Cohen in that video, you get that sense from him. I almost pity the fool. Almost. I don't think he had a choice. I think he did. I really do believe that Michael Cohen made that video under duress. But you know, he could have cried out for the help of conservatives. And you know, and conservatives would have taken him in and given him a Fox deal and a book deal. He could have gotten a book deal through Regnery and been on Fox News. He didn't have to be CNN and some liberal book publisher. We'd forgive you. We'd forgive you, Michael Cohen. But now I think you know, gone a little bit too far. Oh, man. That's how you put on a convention, people. That's a convention. And ask yourself this. How can you have a list of accomplishments like this president did that last night, who's been in politics for less than 5 years, or less than 4 years, right? Be 4 years in January. So he's been in office less than 4 years. Long list of incredible accomplishments. And by the way, Mexico did pay for the wall. I know they were saying last night, oh, there are a lot of falsehoods. Mexico didn't pay for the wall. They did. Mexico is continuing to pay through the renegotiation of NAFTA that's gone. Right? We had that USMCA. That's how the wall. In fact, if you go back to 2016, whenever President Trump would get into specifics about how Mexico was going to pay for the wall, he mentioned renegotiated trade deals. And then boom, that's what he did. It happened. How can a man who's been in office less than 4 years have more accomplishments than a man who's been in office half a century? How long was he in the Senate? 40? How many years in the Senate? What's one accomplishment of Joe Biden's? It's not Obamacare, that's Obama. It's not Biden care, it's Obamacare. What is one positive accomplishment of Joe Biden and or Kamala Harris? Can you think? Well, she's the first thing that's hyphenated, that, you know, the first Indian, Jamaican, American, or whatever. No. I mean, something they've done using their offices to do some good. I saw a woman who's alive today because of cancer treatment that Trump made available. I saw a bunch of people who were hostages, very bad people that were free. I mean, what has Biden done? Anything? I know what he did to Tara Reid, put his hand up her skirt in the hallway in the Capitol. I know he smelled some people's hair. What has he done? All right, listen. 2 hours are down. There's only 1 to go. And Steve will be joining us in a bit. We'll take our break for the top of the hour. Our number, toll-free, 1-888-GO-CANE-1. We've not heard from one Democrat today. Looking for a Democrat, trolling for a Democrat. I think the Democrats are suffering right now, like the analyst over at CNN, from severe depression. I'll go easy on a Democrat. I will go easy on a Democrat today. I will. I promise you. 1-888-GO-CANE-1. I'll keep one line open for a Democrat. 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. Coming up on the 8 o'clock hour. We'll be back with the third and final hour after this.
9.3 FM, 96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470. WWNN Pompano Beach is the Florida Money Talk Network.
You've heard Steve Kane talk about the great work and the incredible prices at Dr. Gupta's Brighton Dental. Richie the bus driver called Steve Kane on the air and told him about his experience at Brighton Dental.
Good morning. I have to talk about Brighton Dental because your sponsor is a miracle worker. I broke my tooth. I fractured it and went backwards in my mouth.
Oh my God.
Front top tooth. I put it back into the socket. It felt like it was falling out. I had pain. I couldn't even eat spaghetti. And I was going to a wedding in New York 2 days later. And I said, what am I going to do? You know? The dentist here wanted to charge me $120 just to look at it and to tell me he couldn't do anything. I went to Dr. Gupta at Brighton Dental. I traveled 139 miles. I would do it again in a heartbeat, each way. Okay, the man sat and worked on my tooth for 2 hours. Put a pin in it, put it back in place. I could eat anything I want. He said it was temporary. He did such a great job. It feels like permanent. I have no pain. I can eat anything I want now. And the fact of the matter, this is what really was unbelievable. I was getting on the bus to go to the reception, okay, in New York City. He knew I was in New York. The phone rings. Who do you think's on the line?
Welcome to the new subs.
Right. He wants to see if everything is going okay and if I'm in any pain. The guy is unbelievably wonderful. I mean, thank you so much.
Yeah, what's going on?
I would have been able to eat. I would have been able to go. I would have looked like a pumpkin.
What's that?
He's a great dentist, and of course, for you Steve Kane listeners, you
Okay.
have one, Dr. Gupta, and he's over there.
Yeah, it's fine. Okay, all right, I'm coming back, so I gotta run. Okay.
You know, dentistry is an art when you stop and you think about it. And Dr. Gupta certainly is an artist, and we're so pleased to have him with us.
Yeah, I just wanted them to know if you need a dentist and the guy is so good at what he does, he's so gentle. And I mean, I don't like dentists. This guy is top shelf. And I'm going down to him to get it permanently put in. But right now, I don't have any pain. I can eat anything I want.
Welcome to our
Take
new
Richie the bus
subscribers.
driver's advice and go see Dr. Gupta at Brighton
This is the
Dental.
most
Call
pro-Donald Trump radio show
954-922-4633.
anywhere in the world.
954-922-4633.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Are you concerned with the distribution of your assets at the time of your passing? Avoid probate. Call the Siegel Law Group with 9 offices throughout South Florida, from Palm Beach Gardens to Coral Gables. Call toll-free 1-855-FLA-3782.
You are listening to South Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. To call the show toll free,
Yes,
dial
I am in Florida.
1-888-GO-CANE-1. That's 1-888-GO-CANE-1. And now.
Yes, third and final hour has begun. We are celebrating this incredible convention yesterday. Oh man, what a great day. The president's speech yesterday, the convention last night. and taking some calls. You are on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Hey, Joe in Coral Springs, what's up?
I just wanted to know best station to watch the convention. I found it on CNN when I was very disappointed.
Oh, you were upset with Fox last night cutting away from it?
Yes. Is it One American News? Where can I?
Well, if you got One American News, I'm sure they cover it. I watched it on YouTube. You know, and Fox, you know, I mentioned this earlier. This was amazing. I was watching the convention on Fox News Channel, and Tucker Carlson came in and cut in on it about like 8:30-ish. They did the opening, and then he cut in. I immediately went to the Fox News Channel YouTube page and started watching on Fox News' YouTube channel. When I turned it on, there were just over 40,000 people watching live. My wife was in the kitchen. She walked from the kitchen to the bedroom. I checked when she came in the bedroom. It was 101,000 watching. Within like a minute, over 60,000 people had flipped just over to that one YouTube channel, right off the Fox News channel. I thought that was amazing, phenomenal.
Fox didn't carry it in its entirety.
Well, why do you think they cut away on Fox from the convention?
I'm baffled. I have no idea.
I think they hate. They hate Trump. The management over there hate Trump, and I don't think Tucker and Hannity. I don't think that was their call. I think they were told to cut in.
Yeah, you figure that's the only three and more.
Well, they're on during the convention. They don't know. They love him. They love him.
Those three love him.
Paul Ryan is on the board of directors of Fox. Yeah. All right, appreciate the call in Coral Springs. By the way, in Coral Springs, there's only one place for wings, and that's Wings Plus.
Time right there on sample.
Yeah, that's right. Make sure you mention you heard about them on the radio. What do you order when you go to Wings Plus? What's your favorite dish over there?
I just usually get the wings all flat, medium.
Yeah, medium are my favorite too. I usually get the medium too. All right, appreciate the call. Yeah, Wings Plus, about a mile west of University on the south side of Sample Road. Make sure you mention you heard about them on the Steve Kane Show. I mean, I remember I was over there, and an old friend of mine that I've known since I was 16 years old, I was over there having lunch with, and he said, Alan, and it was at our Bye Bye Bama Bash. Alan said to me, he said, I've never seen a business that's so open about their conservative beliefs. I know, it's Wings Plus, Sample Road location. All right, now, the thing with Fox, it was I would not blame Tucker or Hannity, okay? They were told to do that by management. And they desperately want a Biden interview over on Fox. Desperately. That's why Dana Perino, part of the Bush cartel over there, that's why she did that sucky interview with Dr. Jill Biden, Doctor of English Lit, or whatever she's doctor of. They're trying to get a Biden interview. They should cover it, and they should not interrupt it. They can come in and talk between sections or sessions or whatever's going on, but it should be carried in its entirety. And by the way, that goes for the daytime as well. It should all be, at least, it should all be the convention, all day, all night, live. That's what people want to see and hear that watch Fox News Channel. We don't want to hear people talk about the convention. We want to watch the convention. Now, let me get to some audio. Hillary Clinton gave an interview and gave advice. What should Joe Biden do, even if he loses on election night? This was Hillary Clinton this week.
And, Joe Biden should not concede under any circumstances, because I think this is going to drag out, and eventually I do believe he will win if we don't give an inch, and if we are as focused and relentless as the other side is.
Rick and Lorraine.
Wow. He shouldn't concede no matter what, because we can wear him down. I'm not going to play any sound bites of this, but you guys can go online and watch it. Debbie Wasserman Schultz yesterday with the Postmaster General. I forgot about Debbie Wasserman Schultz. She doesn't seem to be a player anymore. She's a local congresswoman here in our listening area. We don't hear from her so much anymore. She's kind of on the outs, it seems. She's not as influential in the Democrats as she used to be, but she was so annoyed. You got to go watch it. Watch the whole thing during her whole part of talking, and she asks questions. She accuses the Postmaster General of terrible things, and won't let him respond. She reclaims her time. And then, she was there in person, but a lot of these Congress people, Democrats, they do the Zoom call in the hearings, and some Democrat somewhere had left their mic on and didn't mute it, and Debbie Wasserman Schultz gets so annoyed. She's so annoyed that one of her colleagues is has the Zoom mic on. It's hilarious. And her time is up. You got to watch this. I'm not going to play it for you. It's about 5 minutes long. You guys watch it on YouTube. Debbie Wasserman Schultz with the Postmaster General yesterday. Her time is expired. Okay? At the end, her time is expired. The Postmaster General is trying to respond to all these terrible allegations she made against him. And she starts to interrupt him, and he says, "I thought your time was expired." And Debbie says, "It's all my time. It's all my time," even though her time was expired. Let me tell you, if I was hauled up in front of one of those committees, I wouldn't answer any of their questions if they treated me that way. They accuse you of things. They ask you a yes or no question, and they don't even want you to answer or allow this. They don't want you to correct the slander against them. I would sit there and wouldn't take a question. But the thing with Debbie, especially at the end, when the Zoom call's interrupting her, you got to watch it. Debbie Wasserman Schultz. All right, now let me get some of the audio here. What do I want to play next? Oh. Have you guys heard the phone call with Jerry Falwell's wife, and the pool boy? Oh my goodness. Jerry Falwell, listen. He can be redeemed. He is a Christian, but he has been living a very unusual lifestyle for a pastor. At least I hope it's an unusual lifestyle for a pastor. Now, if you remember a couple weeks ago, there was a picture of Jerry Falwell Jr. with his arm around a woman on a yacht, and both of them had their pants undone. Remember that? Oh my goodness. And then he had some story that they were an old pair of jeans right out of the wash and they were too tight. So that's why he had his pants undone. Well, what about her? Why were hers undone, Jerry Falwell Jr.? And then yesterday, a story came out that he and his wife had met a pool boy at the Fontainebleau Hotel in Miami Beach, and that the wife had an affair with the pool boy. And then denials came out. This all happened yesterday, right? The pool boy story. Then denials came out. The pool boy, he says, the truth will come out. Then, later in the day, we find out that Jerry Falwell and his wife invested $1.8 million so that the pool boy could open up a gay hostel in Miami. Then Falwell's group team accused the pool boy of blackmailing them. Well, this morning, a phone call has dropped. On the phone call is Jerry Falwell Jr., his wife, and the pool boy. And I know. And I'm going to play you the phone call. And the phone call, it's a three-way call. Jerry Falwell is on there with his wife, Becky, and the pool boy. The pool boy recorded this. And Jerry Falwell, it tells the pool boy that he is making his wife jealous by talking about all his online hookups that they're having. Have you guys heard this call? I'm going to play it for you right now, okay? Jerry Falwell Jr., his wife Becky, and the pool boy.
John's been very busy lately.
Yeah, so.
His new thing is like telling me every time he hooks up with people, like I don't have feelings or something.
You're gonna make us jealous.
Yeah.
Jerry Falwell. You're going to make her jealous. Now, by the way, the pool boy has said that not only was he having sex with Jerry Falwell's wife, but that Jerry Falwell watched him have sex with his wife. They sound like swingers.
John's been very busy lately.
Yeah,
His
so.
new thing is like telling me every time he hooks up with people, like I don't have feelings or something.
You're gonna make us jealous.
Yeah.
Not trying to do that.
Like a week ago, I was in tears for a whole freaking day.
Come on.
He's like, I hooked up with this girl at dinner, and then I got her an Uber, and I'm like, just completely depressed.
Come on. You don't.
She sounds like a teenage girl, doesn't she?
Maybe the more you tell me, the more I'll get used to.
You don't care about me anymore, Becky.
Huh?
You don't care about me anymore.
Yeah, really? Yeah, obviously. Yeah,
But
that's why.
I just tell you because you're my best friend, right? So.
I know. I'm trying to be okay. I'm like.
Well, after they poured $1.8 million into his hostel in Miami, I would think they're very good friends, huh?
Except in my position, but I'm kind of into. So yeah.
It's okay.
I'm trying to. I've changed a lot. I've moved on. I've matured. Matured.
Yes.
I'm not as crazy as I used to be. I would think. I don't think.
No.
So yeah, this is just, huh?
No, you're perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Gotta
fine.
keep that up. Yeah, this is just new. I don't know. I was always in the, even before when you weren't dating somebody, it just kind of threw me for a loop.
Oh my goodness. And I'm sure he's got other recordings too. That's not something you do just one time. Oh my goodness. That was Jerry Falwell and his wife talking to the pool boy about how jealous she's getting about his online hookups. Oh my goodness. I'm just happy that this, I guess I'm glad that it's happening this election and not the last one, because Jerry Falwell Jr., when he endorsed President Trump, it really helped us a lot, because the evangelical voters were on the fence in 2016. They were on the fence about Donald Trump, and Jerry Falwell came out at Liberty, endorsed him, and the evangelicals nationwide, boom, got on the Trump train real quick. If this was then, we'd be in trouble today. But you know what? Jerry Falwell Jr. and his wife, no one is perfect. There was only one perfect man. His name was Jesus. We all are sinners. Everyone's a sinner. And this is not over for them. I mean, there's going to be some terrible things that come out beyond what we're already hearing. And they can be forgiven and move on and have a moral life. This is what life is about for Christians. You know, the left think that Christians are saints, and Christians are, what do they say at Church by the Glades? There are no perfect people allowed, they say at Church by the Glades. So if Jerry Falwell and his wife come out and have asked for forgiveness and have gone through that, that's acceptable to me. And it will be to all Christians, for the most part, if they're real Christians, because that's what Christianity's all about. I wish we could be perfect people, but we're not. All right, it's 16 minutes after 8. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. We'll be right back after this.
Stop paying an outrageous fortune for your tires. Go easy on
I
your
know, it's
budget
pretty
and
brutal.
buy your tires at Friendly Tire in Margate, where they have all the major brands like Goodyear and Firestone at discount prices that absolutely can't be beat. Steve Kane's tires for his Toyota van at the other shops, $175 a tire. At Friendly Tire, just $75 a tire. That's a $100 savings per tire. Tires for my daughter Emily's car, $135 at the shops around town. The price at Friendly Tire, only $65. That's a $70 savings per tire. These prices are out the door and on the road. Free mounting and balancing and no added charges. Friendly Tire have a great selection of good used tires too, starting at just $30 for most cars. Call my good buddy Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire. Tell him what you drive and he will give you a great low price right over the phone. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. Online, friendlytire.net.
95.3 FM, 96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470. WWNN Pompano Beach is the Florida Money Talk Network.
We are chatting today with Frank, the owner of two magnificent Ace Hardware stores. One, Deerfield Beach, 365 South Federal Highway, about a quarter of a mile south of Hillsborough on the west side of Federal Highway. And the other, Beach Ace Hardware, located at 232 Commercial Boulevard, half a block west of A1A in Lauderdale by the Sea. How many years have you owned this business?
I've been in the hardware business for over 40 years, Steve.
If I have a home project that I'm doing, there are so many around the house, that's the big thing today. What's the difference of my experience if I go to Ace Hardware as opposed to
Steve Kane Show.
These major impersonal chain stores?
Hey, Ray.
Well, there's a huge difference. The basic difference is customer service. We're an old-time fashion hardware store. We have experienced people that are working our stores. Our employees are just top-notch. They're very experienced. They know their business. When you're doing a project, you can come into the store and you can get somebody that knows what they're doing, somebody that will like to work with you. They'll find you the right project, the right pieces, the first time, so you can get in and out
Steve
with the
Kane
right
Show.
material.
There are lots of Ace Hardware stores, but there are only two that are advertising with the Steve Kane Show. We're talking about the Deerfield location, a quarter of a mile south of Hillsborough Boulevard on the west side of Federal, and of course the Beach Ace Hardware located at 232 Commercial Boulevard, a half block west of A1A in Lauderdale by the Sea. Very, very special locations. Be sure to mention Steve Kane sent you.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WW.
All right, and it's time to check in with attorney Barry Siegel, our estate planning attorney. Barry Siegel, good morning.
Good morning. How are you, Brian?
I'm doing very well, thank you very much. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you as well. Brian, this morning I just want to talk about the fact that it's so important for people, even if you have an existing estate plan, to make sure that it's up to date. Our goal at the Siegel Law Group is to make sure that our clients have an estate plan that's going to work for them when they need it. Whether they're our existing clients with a three-year review meeting, we want to make sure that their estate plan continues to stay up to date. And for those of you who aren't clients yet, come in for a free review. We'll take a look at it, see what it says. We'll talk to you, make sure that your goals and the plan are in line with each other. And again, the goal for you is to make sure you have a plan to take care of yourself and your family, protect them, and at the end of the day, have peace of mind that everything is going to work out the way that you wanted it to work out. So I'd say take advantage of a free review of your current estate plan.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, in this era of divorces and remarriage and blended families and people, so, you know, it can get pretty confusing, but not for attorney Barry Siegel and his team. They do this all day, every day, and when you meet with attorney Barry Siegel and his staff over there, you're going to find that they've thought about every possible eventuality that anyone could possibly encounter in their family after their passing. Give attorney Barry Siegel a call. His number, 855-FLA-3782. 855-FLA-3782. And online, SiegelLawGroup.com. All right, Barry Siegel, we will talk later in the week. You too. Take care. Take care. All right. Ray in Sunrise. Hey, Ray.
Hey, Brian. How you doing?
Oh, after that convention, I'm doing great.
Oh, fantastic. You know, I wanted to wait until Steve came on, but, you know, I don't know what happened to him. But, you know, I had disagreed with you, I think, on certain things at the earlier part of the show when you talk about Hannity's ego and Tucker and so on.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, see, Steve is a Fox junkie like I used to be. And I think that, you know, Fox is definitely anti-Trump. There's no doubt about it. But I think your earlier interpretation, which I think you turned down a little bit, about Tucker and Hannity, their ego caused them to cut away from the convention last night. I think there's more behind that. First of all, Fox is not fair and balanced in any way.
No, in fact, Fox News, they dropped fair and balanced was their tagline for many years. They dropped that about 5 years ago.
Look, Chris Wallace, Neil Cavuto, Donna Brazil, who should be in jail, as you pointed out before, Juan Williams, the token black who's like brain dead, you know, and you got Britt Hume, you know, all these never Trumpsters and so on, Geraldo Rivera, the token Hispanic and so on. You know, my question is this: first of all, if you don't like, if you like me, get the Fox alternatives, okay? You got Newsmax. You always talk about One America News. Unfortunately, I can't get it, but you know. And on the radio, you got Steve Kane. You can start your day with. After that, you go to 610. You got Brian Mudd. You got Rush. You got Hannity until 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
To you, Brian, is remember Chef Smith, Greenwich Village Smith?
Yeah, of the Village People. Yes.
Who replaced him? Now you mentioned Paul Ryan going over to management. You know, the former Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan, right? Now, what is his position? Who's called?
Paul Ryan is on the board of directors at Fox News, and I'm telling you what's going on. This started 2 weeks ago when Dana Perino interviewed Jill Biden. Chris Wallace is angling to get a one-on-one interview with Biden, so they're doing all this strange coverage. You know what I mean? They're trying to be fair and balanced. So far as last night cutting away, that was not Hannity or Tucker's call. They don't make those kind of calls, even though they're big-time guys. They're told, and there was a management decision. But as I said earlier, Ray, if I were Tucker or Hannity, I would go to management and say, and they know because they're on social media, especially Hannity. Viewers are angry at us for not carrying the convention. They're blaming us for interrupting it. We don't. This is not productive. It is not healthy. Let's carry the damn convention. Ray, I got to run. Steve's going to be joining us, but thanks for the call, and your comments are welcome as always. Steve, are you with us? All right, that's okay. Late night. I mean, what a great convention.
Let me ask you a question. I had an experience with it. I had a bad day yesterday. I was, you listen to all of what's going on between the conventions and the rioting in the streets and all this kind of stuff, and I've been getting increasingly overly involved, and I wasn't feeling good yesterday, to tell you the truth. Then when the convention came and I watched what went on, it was like when it was finished, I said, "This is over." I mean, there's no way that Biden can survive what I had just watched. The convention was beyond belief, and the interesting thing when I was watching because I did tune over to CNN a little bit and some of the other stations, and like Donna Brazil and all these talking heads, they were green.
They were depressed. They were depressed.
Well, they were palpably depressed. I mean, they were, there's an old expression that I don't know whether it's used much anymore, but called green around the gills. It's like when you get seasick. The words were coming out, their whole defense was it's all lies and this stuff, but nothing they said held water. They were obviously deeply emotionally distressed by how great the Republican convention.
Oh yeah, it it looked like they were caught off guard by it too. Like it was unexpected.
Oh yeah, they were shocked. They had no idea. It like blew them out of the water. They would have done better not to try to recoup by by fighting back, because it only made them look worse. It was, and then I said to myself, I almost called you. I said to myself, this thing is over now. It's like they talk about it in every convention. What was it? What was the one about Reagan saying he wasn't going to hold his opponent's youth against him?
Yeah.
It turned the entire race around, that one line. And while there was more than one line last night, I think the race was up.
Well, I'll tell you, Steve, I was talking about this earlier. With these two conventions that are being done remotely in different ways. The Democrats were using this amateur hour Zoom business, and we had a professional, highly produced television production last night, on top of the great list of accomplishments. Yeah, it was real. My favorite part last night was when Trump would talk to the groups of people like the hostages that he had gotten released or the first responders. That was really effective, I thought.
And the whole thing was effective, and the message came through loud and clear that these are people who are sincere and who love him.
Now, I talked to you yesterday afternoon, and you were like on suicide watch of depression over what you were watching on the news, and I couldn't understand what you were experiencing.
Can only watch so much,
Steve Kane Show.
Unfortunately, I'm an addict, and
Steve Kane Show.
I'm
Yes.
home here, and there's nothing much else to.
Yeah. Now, Fox cut away from a lot of the convention. Were you watching on Fox when they cut away?
I don't know.
Because if you did, because Fox cut away a lot, and a lot of the very important, powerful moments were not on television last night on Fox because they didn't carry the whole thing.
One thing that was on Fox that I did see was Tucker's monologue, and it was beyond belief. Scary, but beyond belief. Tucker gets better every day. He's just really...
Well, what they did... do you want to play any sound bites? Because I got some audio here. Okay, now I want to play a couple here. This is one I played earlier, but I want to play it for your reaction. Hillary Clinton gave an interview this week, and she gave advice to Joe Biden. Listen.
And, Joe Biden should not concede under any circumstances because I think this is going to drag out, and eventually I do believe he will win if we don't give an inch, and if we are as focused and relentless as the other side is.
So she's telling Joe Biden, don't concede. Even if you lose, we can wear them down.
No matter what the numbers are.
Yeah.
Will all the things we've set up to steal it will kick?
Yeah. We just need to buy time on election night. And the person interviewing her, when she said that, threw her arms up in the air like in a victory thing. Now, I went over this earlier in the show, and I told you about this yesterday, the Helmut Norpoth model. Now, for those that are just tuning in, this guy has a model of election predictions that has been accurate in the last 24 out of 26 elections. The only time it was not accurate was 60, Kennedy and Nixon, and the 2000 election, Gore-Bush. And Gore-Bush was a couple hundred votes, so you can understand how someone's prediction could be off. 1960, I believe his model was right because Nixon won 1960. It was stolen by Kennedy. But what he does is he doesn't use opinion polls or approval polls or anything. His model has been tried they've used it going back over 100 years. It's been accurate except in those two elections using primary votes because those are actual votes. He is giving Trump not just a victory, a landslide in the Electoral College. Joe Biden, he predicts 176 electoral votes. Donald Trump 362. Keep in mind, you only need 270 to win. And you're not seeing this anywhere on television because it's been so accurate.
I would have said no. I wouldn't have assumed it was going to be that lopsided. But after watching the convention last night, I think it's over. I think you're gonna see a major coming out of this convention. You're gonna see a major bump in the polls, and it's gonna become obvious that it's.
Well, I'm glad because yesterday you were like unable to get out of bed. You were like in a fetal position, laying in bed in your underwear all day with the razor blades out. I was. I couldn't figure out why, but I'll tell you what. Not only did that convention wake you up, this next call will, because it's Richard Pearl from Simply Natural, who always has great information. Richard Pearl, good morning.
Richard, my friend, how are you doing this morning?
Very well, thank you.
Howard?
I appreciate that. Okay, so let's get into something, because this is the last day I'm going to offer this. I did it on my Saturday show for just that weekend, but then I talked briefly about it yesterday, and I'm going to honor it through today. I barely talked about this, which is wrong. But I've written 2 articles about carbon-60, and it's one of the most unique molecules of significance ever. Nanotechnology is derived from it. It's been shown to reduce inflammation and arthritic conditions. It improves immune function. It helps, both the lymphocytes and the cytokines. And this is very, very important in fighting infections and tumor cells. It prevents the self-destruction of neurons, so it can have potential benefits for people with Alzheimer's. The big thing is that it's a free radical sponge. It basically absorbs free radicals, not at a 1-to-1 ratio, but at a 32-to-1 ratio. And then it takes it out of the body. It's a cage-like structure. It looks like a soccer ball. It's known as Buckminster fullerenes or buckyball. Really important molecule. All of nanotechnology is derived from the discovery of carbon-60. And the big thing, the thing that propelled the interest in health, was they did a study called the Baki study that showed that rats treated with the carbon-60 lived 90% longer than standard rats. This was a study done in Paris, not that many years ago. I think it was 2008 or maybe 12, something like that. And it was a revolutionary study. Put this thing on the map. But it's amazing. They're using it for cancer. They're using it for HIV. It improves cartilage and bone health. But they're using it for viruses of all types. Obviously, HIV is the big one. But it even helps with weight loss. So normally, when this first came out, there's only one brand I use, and I don't have time to tell you why now, but you can call the store. It used to be $180. I am putting it on sale. It's dropped over time, but I'm putting it on sale for $99 and $1 shipping. And you can buy as many as you want. It's a pump. You do it once a day in the morning. It is a remarkable molecule. There's nothing like it. It's 172 times more antioxidant value than any other antioxidant known to mankind.
Well, what? Yeah.
Find you.
Yeah, they can call it Natural, 954-741-4045, 954-741-4045. Today's the only last day, $99 plus $1 shipping.
Yeah. All right, let's take a quick call here. You're on the radio. Good morning.
Hello?
Yes, you're on the radio.
Oh, hi. It's me again. I talked to you earlier. No.
Oh, yes, just try not... Can you do me a favor? Don't use the F word again.
I promise.
Okay. I know you were talking about Mrs. Clinton, so I can understand your frustrations.
Please accept my apology.
That's fine. That's fine, yes.
And I just wanted to commend you for what a wonderful show that you have. And, it's...
That's right.
Refreshing. Very refreshing to hear the other point of view. You know, I like to...
It sounds like you're surrounded by liberals in your life.
No.
Then what's new about it? Oh, you're new to the show. You're new to the radio show, so you're new to that. I get it.
But I'm going back to Colorado tomorrow, hopefully, to inhale the smoke. There's so many wildfires that have...
Yeah, I heard that's been arson out there in Colorado. They have these massive fires like in California. I appreciate the call. Hey, Steve, now I'm not a football guy, so maybe you can help me with this. I mean, I know who he is, Herschel Walker. Why is Herschel Walker's endorsement of Trump such a big deal? It's trending on Twitter. Everyone's talking about it. I mean, I know who he is.
Huge name, and he is Christian, and he speaks from his heart, and he is very impressive in persuading people.
Yeah.
And he's a superstar in football. I mean.
Yeah. Do you have his autograph on any helmets or balls or anything?
Certainly do. As a matter of fact, I have Herschel Walker on a Dallas helmet. Yes.
Oh, really? Wow.
I think I'm going off the top of my head. I'll check this out, but I think I have Herschel on my USFL helmet. I think. I think he.
Yeah. Those helmets are a little more valuable today than they were yesterday. because his name is so out there now. You know, CNN, they had their fact checker. Let me get this queued up. Okay, so CNN had their fact checker on standby. So maybe we can fact check the fact checker a little bit. This is the fact checker, CNN. Yeah, of course you get. It's a Steve Kane show, isn't it?
And when Brian plays this, you can listen to the words, but the big thing to listen to is the tone.
Oh yes, the tone. Depression. This is like you yesterday.
Exactly. Yes. Put that very well.
Yeah. Okay. Here's the fact checker. Yeah.
Let's bring in our lead fact checker here at CNN, Daniel Dale. Daniel, Republicans certainly kept you busy over the last 2.5 hours.
Jake, that was a parade of dishonesty. We had false claims, we had misleading claims, we had major strategic omissions, we had up is down revisionist history on the coronavirus and other matters. I think it veered at times into the realm of disinformation even more than mere dishonesty. And Jake, people say, as you know, they all lie. What about the Democrats? Look, I sat here in the same spot listening closely to the Democratic convention. It just was not like this. I think it's important for us to note.
What does he mean by that? Motivating, interesting? You know, it wasn't. Oh my God. Yeah, this guy. You know what this guy is? He's the Dr. Fauci of facts. The Fauci of facts. This guy on CNN.
They're not equal, and their 4 nights combined didn't have the quantity of dishonesty of tonight's one Republican night. We need to say when this isn't the same and this isn't the same.
That's right. I mean, you pointed out the times that misstatements or lies were made at the Democratic convention. You're saying they're just a lot more at the Republican convention. Give us some examples of what you saw tonight that needs to be fact-checked, and we understand this is just a small sampling.
This is a sampling. So we had Donald Trump Jr. suggest that Joe Biden described riots as, quote, peaceful protests. In fact,
he has. Multiple times.
Over and over again, yes.
So we're fact-checking the fact-checker.
They must not be watching.
I bet you this guy's list was written before the convention even aired.
In fact, Biden explicitly condemned protest violence.
No, he didn't.
We had Nikki Haley describing Trump, the president, as an opponent of so-called cancel culture. The president has railed against so-called cancel culture, but he's also tried to get dozens of people, entities, companies canceled, including Goodyear just last week.
Well, that's not true, okay? What cancel culture is takes away the ability of someone or a company to exist and work. All Trump said was, don't buy Goodyear. He didn't say Goodyear should be shut down, out of business, and send a mob over to loot the place. All right?
Macy's and Mexico and a bunch of other entities in the past. A video had the president claiming that he kept every single promise he made. He certainly kept some, but
that's the tagline: promises made, promises kept.
But not even close to all of them. Mexico hasn't paid for the wall. Obamacare isn't.
Yeah, they did pay for the wall. It's called USMCA. NAFTA's gone. They paid for the wall.
Repealed. We haven't had 4% economic growth per year.
We had a global pandemic and the country was shut down all year.
That's just wrong. We had multiple speakers, from Congressman Steve Scalise and Jim Jordan, tout economic records that have been obliterated by the pandemic. They cited the lowest unemployment rate in 50 years. Well, we don't have that anymore. We're now at 10.2%, higher than at any time since the Great Recession. We heard a number of accusations about Joe Biden that just aren't true, that he wants to dismantle, defund.
You know, but we were at about 20, almost 30% unemployment a couple months ago with the shutdown, and now we're at 90% employment. So this guy is just, I don't know.
He's lying.
Yeah.
Rejected that idea that he wants to, quote, abolish the suburbs. This is just nonsense.
Now this is the Section 8 housing. Yeah, moving low-income Section 8 housing does abolish. It does destroy the suburbs. It changes the standard of living out there. By the way, hey Steve, do you think any of this Section 8 housing that Biden's moving into the suburbs, you think any will be moving on his street? Biden Street? Yeah, right.
Anti-segregation rule, that he wants open borders. He certainly wants a loosening of immigration policy, but not completely unrestricted migration. We heard extreme hyperbole. One speaker, Natalie Harp, said that we'd, quote, be lucky if we could see any doctor at all under Joe Biden's healthcare plan. That's just ludicrous. And Jake, I think the biggest revisionist history was the suggestion that Trump, unlike various Democrats, did not downplay the coronavirus pandemic. He's the one who said we'd go from 15 cases to close to 0. He's the one who suggested it would go away with warm weather in April. He's the one who said into March that it was under control. So the suggestion that Democrats were wrong and Trump was right is just up.
Their fact checker sounds panicked, doesn't he? He you know. And, you know, it's an interesting thing. That I've never heard of this guy before. His name, something Dale. He's got 2 D's in his name. Dan Dale, Dumb Dale, something Dale. You know, I've never heard of him before. It's like they don't want any of their regular anchors fact-checking because they're afraid they'll lose credibility. Like they brought on some nobody who has no credibility to lose to come on and attack the convention. But I thought
they're all facts that their main anchors spout all the
Well, one of the
they're in Donna Brazil.
Oh,
she looked awful.
Really
to watch. Yes,
depressed.
Yeah, you didn't see any of the.
I didn't see the I when they cut away from the convention right after the opening, and I went and watched it on YouTube. I didn't watch, and I had to go to bed before the analysis after, so I didn't see any of the analysis.
Donna Brazil.
I did not see Donna Brazil.
Donna looked sick, really. I almost felt bad for her.
You know what that's about? They were caught off guard. They were expecting this to be the equivalent of the Democrat convention, which was just a disaster technically and visually. Yeah. And
they didn't know how to cope with it.
Well, this is what I was talking about earlier with this convention. Donald Trump had they can't handle the truth. You know, Trump had the #1 show on NBC television for 10 years, The Apprentice, that he did with Mark Burnett, who's the producer of Survivor and these reality shows. I think that Donald Trump produced this convention, probably with Mark Burnett or people from his team, because, I mean, the way they did this, when those canned speeches in the beginning that started with Charlie Kirk, you expect those to be boring, and they were fascinating, except for Kim Guilfoyle was the only one that messed up in that. But everything else was, I mean, they're talking to an empty room, and it was interesting. It's very difficult to pull off. They had 3 people. They had 3 people in that hall. That cameraman. They may not have shown this on Fox, when Charlie Kirk and the Black Democrat and Matt Gaetz came out.
Charlie Kirk was spectacular.
Isn't he great? He's 26 years old. 26 years old. Can you believe it?
He's unbelievable. Big future. Big future.
Oh, yeah. Not Ben Shapiro.
Assumed they kept Ben Shapiro out of it. I didn't see him.
Steve Kane Show.
But if they did, that was a good choice.
Well, hold on. All right, listen, we'll take our last break of the day. And when we get back, we'll continue to talk about this incredible convention. And I'm assuming they start slow and they're building up to something. Trump knows how to put on a show. So it's...
Was the...
With Charlie Kirk after John Voight? You know, one thing that came out, I think it was Matt Gaetz that said this, and I thought that was pretty interesting, that President Trump is the only president since Reagan to not start a new war. That every president has gotten us into some type of military conflict we weren't involved in prior. I thought that was... Now, it never even occurred to me before. That says a lot. The anti-war left should be excited by that. Right?
After this.
95.3 FM, 96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470. WWNN Pompano Beach is the Florida Money Talk Network.
This is Steve Kane, and I wanted to share with you some thoughts about why I chose the Gardens of Boca Raton to be my final resting place. I have always been uncomfortable with thoughts of death and dying, but the very first time that I visited the Gardens of Boca Raton, I could feel my apprehensions vanish. Just knowing that I'd be spending eternity with my family in such magnificent surroundings lifted my spirits. The Gardens of Boca Raton is an all-faith, above-ground cemetery with tranquil surroundings, a place where your loved ones can come and visit you time and time again, remembering and celebrating your life. The gardens have caring professionals available to help you in your time of need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Pre-need with 0% financing is available and prevents your family from having to deal with these matters at the time of their grief and sorrow. The Gardens of Boca Raton dedicated to all those who have lived and all those who live today. Let the Gardens take care of your family as they are taking care of my family. Schedule a tour today. Call 877-PLAN-561 or online at thegardens.com. Tell them Steve Kane sent you.
Listen to The Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WW.
All right, Stephen, we're back. It's time for the Gold Report. And, yes.
My favorite time of day, the Gold Report, brought to you by William Youngerman of William Youngerman Inc. William, of course, one of the world's leading experts on the precious metals. He's been advising clients on trends and movements in the precious metals markets now for over 50 years. He's been here on the Steve Kane Show for over 16, and I hope you, like me, have followed his advice, because if you have, you've been doing really well. William, how are you today?
Great, Steve. How you doing?
Excellent.
Good. Well, the precious metals are still locked in a trading range, but right now in the lower end of that trading range, as we've been seeing gold trade anywhere from $1,920 to yesterday's high of $1,963 in an attempt to break out of that trading range yesterday, which had been around $1,950. But that failed attempt pushed gold down $13.80 to close at $1,928.60, with all the attention being given to the stock markets these days in what seems to be a very overbought scenario, but that doesn't seem to make any difference to people wanting to go into the stock market. A lot of the money coming out of the gold right now, and that's been some pressure. The gold also watching the U.S. dollar, which has been lower, but is also trying to reverse its course. We'll see whether that happens. But for the short term, gold and silver and all of the precious metals, with the exception of platinum, are lower today. The silver yesterday closed down 25 cents at $26.57 the ounce, while platinum was down $7 at $909, and palladium closed down $10 at $2,059. This morning we see gold down $5 at $1,923.60. Overnight it was higher, but again, seeming to want to stay around this $1,920 range, it has pulled back $5. Silver down 12 cents right now at $26.45 the ounce, while platinum, the only one that's up, is up $12 at $921, and palladium is down $1 at $2,058. So good, still in the lower end of our trading range. Great time to take advantage of the lower end of the price and add to your positions if that's what you're looking to do now.
It sounds like a good day to stop by William Youngerman, located at 150 East Palmetto Park Road. That's in the Bank America building, right on the first floor, directly across from the bank. You can call William by phone, and any questions you have. William, what's your number over there?
1-800-327-5010, 1-800-327-5010, and our hours are 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, and all the precious metals are in stock for immediate delivery.
And don't forget to check out that incredible website they have, museum quality website at williamyoungerman.com. William, we'll talk tomorrow, and till then, have a great day, all right?
Okay, have a great day.
All right, now, Steve, listen to this. There's something I want to share with you about this, and when I wanted to share that, I came across something. It involves Twitter. I went to Joe Biden's Twitter, okay? And he had everybody on Twitter has like a sentence to describe who they are, you know. This is how this is Joe Biden's Twitter, okay? This is his bio. Senator, Vice President, 2020 candidate for President of the United States, husband to Dr. Biden, proud father and grandfather. Listen to this. This is Joe Biden's Twitter. Loves ice cream, aviators, and Amtrak. What the hell is that aviator? He loves, it says here, this is on his, I'm not making this up, this is on Joe Biden's Twitter. This is his bio that he has at the top, so he put this in. Loves ice cream, aviators, and Amtrak. So what the hell is it? What does he mean he loves aviators? What does that mean? Is it what? Yeah. So he loves aviators, especially on Amtrak, I guess. But the reason I pulled this up, though, listen to this. This is an amazing statistic that I'm going to share with you right now, people. You will hear this pointed out nowhere else, although it's available for everyone. On Twitter, Joe Biden has 8.8 million followers. 8.8 million followers, right? That's a lot of people. 8.8 million followers. President Donald Trump has 85.5 million followers. He has 10 times the number of followers. I mean, think about it. 85.5 million versus 8. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Impressive statistic.
Yeah, I mean, that's like a poll. And, and Twitter leans young, right? Where are all his young people? So the president tweeted a few minutes ago. Listen to this. Because we're talking about Fox News cutting away from a lot of the convention last night. Donald Trump, 22 minutes ago, tweeted this. Very appreciative that CNN covered the vast majority of the Republican convention last night. That was really good for CNN, while at the same time being good for our country. Thank you. So because Fox cut away. That was a jab at Fox President Trump made. All right, let's go to the phones. You're on the radio. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. How you doing? What a
good morning.
Contrast between Good morning. Stark contrast between last week's doldrum and negativity and people hiding, in a basement and this and that last night, which was positivity and people living their lives and not being scared. Let
me ask you a question, caller. Do you think that last night? I had this feeling, as at the end of the evening, that it was all over. In other words, I think this was that moment, that Ronald Reagan moment that he had when he said, "I won't hold my opponent's youth against him."
Yeah.
The race was over. I think last night was that kind of a moment. What do you think?
I agree with you, and it's only going to get better as the week goes on. That's the beauty of it. I mean, that was just nothing.
Well, that was that comment of Ronald Reagan. I could be wrong about this. If I'm wrong, correct me. I think he was talking to Walter Mondale, and Ronald Reagan was at the time was going to be the oldest man elected to the presidency. He was going to be 70. Yeah.
Paint him out as being seen.
And then Ronald Reagan, and during the debate, and he says, "If you don't hold my age against me, I won't hold my opponent's youth against him." And that, you're right. That was a turning point. Caller, what is Joe Biden talking about? He loves ice cream, aviators, and trains. What the hell is that about? Pilots? I mean, aviators like in like flies an aircraft, an airplane? What?
Maybe aviator sunglasses.
Oh, aviator sunglasses and ice cream. Okay, what a weirdo. But this thing I pointed out to Steve. This is very significant. The Twitter followers. Biden has 8 million. The president has 85 million. Social media leans young. That tells us that he has no following, certainly among youth. Why do you think the president has 10 times the following that Biden has?
Because Biden is not popular, he's not going to win, and not for nothing. But if referring to social media, when President Trump posts something or a popular conservative posts something, I mean, they have hundreds of thousands of likes at the snap of a finger. I mean, people are all over that. And with the Democrats and Biden, you just don't see that. I think the only thing that the Republicans are missing right now, when they talk about the coronavirus, is the fact that if you look at CDC numbers, and I mean pure numbers, facts and figures, that the mortality rate in the last 2 months, even though everything's opening up and we got all these cases, mortality rate has improved significantly. The hospitalizations are down and all that. There's one thing.
Well, yeah.
CDC website.
Steve Kane Show.
And those are facts. Compare June to now.
Well, hey, listen, appreciate the call. Hey, Steve, I want to play another soundbite. This is the CNN analysis last night, and they're very depressed. Dana Bash, Jake Tapper, and Blitzer. Oh, yeah.
That's tonight from President Trump. Dana, your reaction?
Well, first of all, Wolf, they were really not socially distant, not wearing masks, standing there talking.
She's like reprimanding. They weren't social distanced. They were wearing masks.
Still, it is pretty telling that the focus for the president's very first appearance at this convention was the coronavirus pandemic, which has killed more people in America than in any other country in the world. Now,
okay, now stop it there. I don't need to play the rest. So Dana Bash, she's like, I don't get it. We had this pandemic and all these deaths, and he's still popular. I don't understand, is what she was saying. She thought that was going to bring him down, and it's made him stronger. And that was just, what a great night.
Propaganda campaign against Trump on the virus issue just has not worked.
Well, tonight will be different for the analysts, because last night they were caught off guard. And a lot of that immediate reaction was the shock, the depression. You know, they were as shocked as they were on 9/11 at what happened. They were really that taken aback. Tonight they'll be more prepared.
You don't have anything of... see if maybe for tomorrow we can find...
Donna, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I missed that. I didn't see any of it.
The voice tone really says it all. I mean, she was just totally shaken.
All right, let's take another call. You're on the radio. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. This is Tabit. Listen, a great kickoff, man, for the convention last night. And I agree with you, Steve. It's over. These guys are looking like... You ever see somebody that's drowning and a leaf floats by? They'll reach out for a leaf, knowing that it can't. Knowing that it can't. You know, they're being crushed. Last thing on with Jerry Falwell Jr. Brian, I want to tell you this: he has not committed sin.
He was watching his wife have sex with the pool boy. That's not a sin? Okay, all right, Tibet, we're out of time, unfortunately. We're out of time, but I would too. Steve, can I tell you though, because I know you don't like to do this, okay? But Fox cut away from a lot of the you missed a lot of the convention because they cut away. One American News, which you have, carried the entire convention. And you missed some I missed Donna Brazil, but you missed some of the speakers tonight during prime time. Watch it on One American News, and then when it's over, go back to Fox for analysis, so you don't miss any of it.
You do. Don't miss Tucker.
Oh, yeah. All right, we're out of time.
Well, we thank you for joining us. We will be back tomorrow, same time, same station. Till then, on behalf of our engineer and technical advisor, Tyler Kane, Brian Craig, my buddy, friend, and partner, and I'm yours truly, Steve Kane. Until tomorrow, God bless America.
95.3 FM, 96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470. WWNN Pompano Beach is the Florida Money Talk Network.
That's it. Alrighty, guys. Yeah, hey, if you're not subscribed, subscribe. If you're new here, we're here every day from 6 until 9 Eastern Time. We're live on the radio on 4 radio stations, and we're live streaming the radio show. We're in South Florida, and this is the longest running radio show in Florida. I'm Brian Craig. I'm the co-host. It's the Steve Kane Show. Steve, you heard, he's at another studio. I'm at the radio station. He's got a studio at his home, and he's from his home studio. And we're here. We take calls. You can see on the air. Great chat room. If you love Trump, you're going to love this show. If you don't love Trump, you're going to not like what you hear, but you'll love the show. I promise you. I'm just shutting down here now. I'm turning on our voicemail. All right, there we go. All right, guys. again, thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe, like the video if you like it, and if you don't mind, share the video on all of your social media with any appropriate hashtags. Okay, I'm here every day from 6 to 9 live in the morning, and also I upload my podcast to the YouTube channel and a bunch of other videos too. All right, I'll see you guys later. Take care.